If you're a VIP and I can see your faces, which I can, check it out. I want you to wave at me and shout yes. Welcome back, everybody. We are so excited to have you over here. Guess what? Lean all the way in. I have to tell you something. There are over 900,000 of you in this challenge from all over the world, different time zones, different parts of the day, different languages. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to day 2. And I feel like part of me wants to say it's going to be the best day yet, but that's because the days keep getting better. Can we just talk about yesterday for a second? Were any of you expecting what happened to happen? Were we just like blown away? Oh my gosh, you have amazing speakers, Dean, Tony, Jenna. Can I just see a little body language here? How you feeling after yesterday? How you feeling after yesterday? Are you starting to see what's possible in this industry? Yes or yes? Are you starting to see past some of your own doubts or beliefs? If you remember the homework yesterday, some of these things we're not even consciously aware of, and they hold us back from opportunity. Okay? The cost of staying stuck versus the ability to have opportunity in your life. That's what we're here for today. And my friends, it is day 2. It is only getting better. So I have a few quick things for you to get the day started, and then we're going to get Dean up here so that you guys can go on a ride for day 2. Are you ready for this? First thing I have for you, my friends, I want to talk about yesterday, all right? At the end of every day, we give you what we call a challenge, okay? It is uncomfortable action that we are wanting you to take part in. And why would this be something we would ask you to do? Do you think you may have to take some uncomfortable action in your business or your life to get to where you want to go? Do you think it's almost like, I don't know, maybe mandatory? Yes? So we asked you to do something, very small. We said, go live in the Facebook group. At the end of the day, we gave you a worksheet. We wanted you to go top to bottom in that worksheet, discover what beliefs are keeping you where you are, what beliefs you need to get to go where you want to go. And then we said, go live in the Facebook group. And a lot of you did it. Can we take a moment and celebrate those of you that went live real quick? Just a big, come on, celebrate. Celebrate yourself. If you're somebody that has never done that, I was watching the videos this morning. So many of you had said, I've never gone live before. And you did it, and you should celebrate yourself. And then there was maybe 30% of you that didn't do it. And that means, 70% of you did, which I would give a thumbs up to, right? But I have a question for you. If you are 70%, let me ask you this. Who here is in a relationship? Just by a show of hands. Okay, let's say you went up to your sweetheart, your baby, and you were like, baby, I love you so much. I love you so much. I am 70% committed to you. What do you think how's that going to go? So if we're 70% committed to this new industry, are we going to make this happen? Or do we need to be 100% all in, my friends? Does that mean we may have to take some uncomfortable action from time to time? All right, I'm going to be in that Facebook group with you. Today is where it gets tactical. You thought yesterday was great? That's just teeing you up. You should see how much Dean and Tony have been obsessing on this challenge for you. And this is where it gets tactical. You have incredible speakers coming up today. You guys have Chalene Johnson, Brendon Burchard, you have Trent Shelton, you have Dean that's going to kick things off. And you're going to want a pen. You're going to flip to a new page in your notebook and go all out today. Expand your mind, see possibility. Today is where what we say, the rubber hits the road. This is where it becomes real for you. Are you ready for this? A few reminders, all right? Take notes like crazy. Show up every single day, all day. You do not want to miss a minute. If you remember from yesterday, at the end of today, something very special is going to happen. We're going to be giving away some prizes for exceptional all-out participation. And that just means you're showing up in that chat box. That means your video is on if you're here in VIP. That means if you're on Facebook or YouTube, you're all in. And if you do that, maybe tonight you win some prizes when I come back, okay? In a couple hours or so. Anybody here like a prize or a giveaway? We've got some good stuff coming up, okay? So give everything you have. And then finally, my friends, energy. I know we talked about this yesterday. You had Tony Robbins, the force of nature. And between Tony and Dean, there's 65 years of experience in this industry between the both of them. And you're going to learn from them today. You're going to learn from so many other speakers today and the rest of this 5-day challenge that have been where you're about to go. They have been in this industry and they've created success from it. And they're going to share with you, just people just like you and I, how they've done what they've done to get where they are today. And in order for us to really receive that, we have to have energy, because energy is just a pattern. If we have low energy in one part of our lives, is it possible that it's showing up in business? Is it possible it's showing up in our relationships? Is it possible it's showing up in our physical bodies? So we need to master that today. Are you willing to coach yourself? Me too. We're teammates in this. To have more energy today. Yes? Your first test of that is when I get Dean up here. I want you guys to show him energy in the chat box and then with your physical body. So right now, sit up in your seats with lots of energy. Shoulders back. Ladies, you know the drill. Lift those shoulders back. Lift that head up. Put a smile on your face, for God's sakes. It's day 2 of the Own Your Future Challenge, my friends. And let's kick this thing off by welcoming to the stage Dean Graziosi. Ladies and gentlemen, get up out of your seats if you're able to. And let's crank the energy for 5 seconds and get Dean up here. Come on, everybody. What's up? What's up?
What's up, KK? Give it up for KK. What's up, guys? Hey, Cynthia, what's going on? Hey, Cyrene, how are you? Jeanette, Tatiana, Ian, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Luis, Ivan, playing full out today. I see you. Brianna, it's my daughter's name. Good to see you, Brianna. John, Priscilla, Brandon, good luck. What's up, everybody? Hey, guys. Let me just ask you, are you ready for day 2? Are you guys ready for day 2? Did last night, who felt excited yesterday? Who felt like you explored something new? Who felt like you had a different way of perceiving this industry, this shift in the world, doing something online, sharing what you knew? Who felt like you had a shift yesterday? Who felt it, right? Who, right now, before we even get to the tactical and the strategic, who felt and who feels right now that you'd love to launch or scale or go to the next level in this incredible industry, right? And we haven't even yesterday was really designed. I hope you see that. Yesterday was designed to let you know about this industry, to pull back the curtain and also break some of those beliefs, some of those things that have held you back in the past, some of those things that have allowed the train to go down the tracks and you're running after it after it's gone, or like we said, the wave going by and you missed it and you're trying to paddle and catch up as a surfer. Here's the thing. I believe this with all of me, that in 2 to 3 years from now, being a part of the knowledge industry, being a part of the self-education industry, the information industry, whatever you want to call it, the upskill industry, is going to be just as common as any other career, any other thing. Like, you are at the forefront of a massive shift in the world. Did you know, you could Google it, I've seen them all over. Did you know that 75%, I saw one study that said 80% of kids right now, do you know if you ask them what they want to do, they want to be in this business. They want to be in this industry. They want to impact other people. They want to do videos. They want to create courses. They want to be online. They want to be a part of the creative community, the sharing economy. This is where the world is heading, and it's why we decided to do it right now in history, and why we don't want you left behind. If you're ready to impact others, if you're ready to create success for you and your family, if you're ready to own your future, then this is the time to take the uncomfortable action, gain the capabilities, and push forward. You see, all of our success, all of it lives on the other side of the thing that's a little bit uncomfortable. In fact, some could be a lot uncomfortable, but don't we know, Ian, I see you shaking your head. Don't you know when you go through it, the other side is like, oh my God, it's magical over here. Why didn't I come here sooner? It wasn't as scary, right? And today, I'm so excited that today we get the opportunity, or you get the opportunity, to learn what I call the secret of the dot. Yeah, that sounds pretty fancy. You could tell my vast vocabulary. I go really deep on naming things, right? Don't laugh at me, Luis. I see ya. You too, Kate. Come on. But today, you're going to learn the power of the dot. And that's going to show you something in a way I don't think you've ever looked at it. And I want to just share this. Yesterday, if you remember, I talked about if you had a week to prepare, to share with your 20-year-old self. And I said, pick a category. It could be health. It could be your career and income. It could be your relationships, right? If you had a week to prepare, do you remember what you wrote when I said, how much is that worth? Right? Everybody, tens of thousands of comments, maybe hundreds of thousands of comments were priceless, or millions, or priceless, or millions. It was just going nonstop. I want you to keep that in your heart all day today as we get a little more strategic, as we get a little more tactical, as we dive deeper, because Listen, when we get closer to our breakthrough, do we go, oh, that's so easy, let's just do it? Or when we get closer to a breakthrough, whatever you believe it is, the enemy, the inner villain, self-doubt, doesn't it always push you back right before you go? Like, I almost started that business. I almost did that thing. I was about to invest in this thing. But then, because at that last minute, that's that time when you go, I'm going to go back to who I was. And if you wanted to go back to who you were, you wouldn't be here today. And it doesn't mean your life is a train wreck. It just means you're either moving away from something that's not so comfortable in your life, or not so fulfilling, or life's okay, but you know you're destined for more. So today, what I want to pre-frame in advance is, if there's anything we're sharing and you feel a little bit uncomfortable, congratulations. That I'm going to encourage you to lean into it. Ask questions, post, share. Don't fade back. Lean in, because this is our time. This is the most magical time in history. So, Jeremy, if you can help me with the whiteboard, I want to pull that over. But I want to go through a process that I think is going to fundamentally shift the way you look at things. Because one of the biggest myths, and I say myth, and that could seem like I'm not taking into consideration what you feel. But I know, because I've been doing this for 25 years. Tony's been doing it for 40 plus years. We've been helping people do this for 3 years now, obsessively. It's been our mission. And we've got to help people in 150 plus countries in 4,600 different categories. And it's been amazing. But I know when you first start, or even if you're in it, remember, guys, this is really important. I said this yesterday, and I had a raise of hands, and it was like a third. A third of you showed up yesterday not having any clue what we were going to talk about. You're like, someone recommended, or I came just to see Jenna, or Chalene Johnson is going to be here, or maybe for Dean, or maybe for Tony, and I just trust it, what's going to be here. You came as investigators, which, thank you for having faith in us. And I watched your faces change. I watched the comments of seeing, like, being exposed to where the puck is going, right? We talked about Wayne Gretzky's quote of, he was so good at hockey because he didn't skate to where the puck was. He skated to where it's going. So I think everybody knew, just stopping by, got to see where the puck is going when it comes to industries, and where wealth is shifting, and where people's focus is shifting, and an industry that's exponentially growing. Some of you have been dabbling in this industry. Some of you are kind of in it. Some of you have tried and failed. And I think you got to see yesterday, maybe you were following the wrong system, following the wrong people, following the wrong process, or maybe even worse, you were trying to do it on your own. The fastest way to get where you want to do is, like I shared yesterday, is the bridge, right? We're bridge builders, right? You went through a process in your life on the other side. Tony and I went through this. We're on the other side. We're showing you the bridge. And then last, the other third are in this business, already being successful. Well, you should be here as well, so you can learn what the cutting edge is, what's changed. You can model what Tony and I are doing. So there's very few things in life that allow the beginner, someone who didn't even know they were beginning, someone who's dabbling, and someone who's an expert, to all gain the capabilities to launch or scale. And that's why we're here. And this exercise I'm going through right now, whether you're whatever one of those three you are, I really want you to hear this through your lens, right? Just figuring out this and say, heck, I think I want to do this, or in it and scaling. So I call it the power of the dot, because I like to take away big words and complexity. So I got to tell you a little story, or remind you of a story yesterday. Yesterday, I shared when I first started about Motor Millions. I know it's kind of, I was going to bring I found the books from 1998. It's funny, I still have them. Maybe I'll bring them tomorrow. So 1998, I'm scared to death. I spend all this money. I film an infomercial, and you remember the story. I get done with the infomercial, done with the product, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm not Tony Robbins. I'm not big. I don't have a vast vocabulary. I've never done this. I'm using borrowed credit card money to get out there. Cheryl, I see you laughing at me. You've probably been here, right? And then all of a sudden, my amazing sister drives 8 hours to sit me down to tell me what a fool I am, and that I'm going to lose everything. She did it with love, and I mean that. I love my sister. She was trying to protect me. And then I go to my friends and say, what do you guys think? And they're different than my sister. They're just like, you're an idiot. You have a collision shop. You have apartments. Are you stupid? You're going to lose everything. It felt amazing, I have to tell you. But do you remember, who remembers the epiphany I had? I was literally walking down the street by my grandmother's house, the house I grew up in most of my childhood. And I was taking a walk, and I'm thinking about, I have to serve all these people, and I have to impress people that own car dealerships, and I have to impress people that have a lot of money. And oh my God, they're going to hear my vocabulary. They're going to hear my silly New York accent. I look like I'm 12. I sound like I'm Mickey Mouse some days when I get excited. All of those things felt like the biggest imposter in the world. But what shifted it? What I realized, this is the power of the dot, and I'm really going to hammer this home for you guys, is the smaller of the thing you're going to teach. As we make it smaller, our confidence grows. So if you remember, in my head while I first got all freaked out, you know what I was thinking? Oh, I got to teach 7 billion people around the world. How do I do? It's like it was so big. But as I was walking and as I was thinking, I realized I wasn't teaching 7 billion people. I was teaching people that would like to make some extra money. But I wasn't just teaching everybody that wanted to make some extra money. Maybe I was teaching people who want to make extra money with cars. That got smaller. It's like, yeah, but I wasn't teaching people that wanted to make money or make money with cars. I wasn't teaching people who had new car dealerships or wanted to have multiple car dealerships. I wasn't teaching how to create standing operating procedures or key performance indicators, KPIs and SOPs. I wasn't teaching how to run an Excel spreadsheet. I wasn't teaching human resources. Surely that's not me. I wasn't teaching how to do all the technical stuff behind the scene. I wasn't teaching how to do the accounting for cars. I was teaching people who wanted to maybe flip an extra car a month and make some extra money. It got even smaller. And then I should even get smaller. I said, I wasn't teaching people that were in the industry or wanted to make more than a couple grand a month. I was just teaching regular people who wanted to learn a process to flip an extra car a month. And I realized it got down to the dot. And when I got down to the dot, I realized, oh, I could teach that group. No problem. They won't make fun of me that I don't have a vast vocabulary. They don't care that I've never started a new car dealership. They're not going to ask me for a KPI or an SOP or an Excel spreadsheet. They're not going to ask me for any of that. They're going to see, this is the classified ad I run to find deals. This is the classified ad I run to sell deals. And this is how I negotiate and match them up. And this is how I get paid in the middle. That dot of people absolutely loved what I did. So when I evolved into teaching real estate, my next course was called Think a Little Different. Now, I'm only going to use my examples. Then I want to give you some real examples here. When I went to real estate, I went through the same process again. I wasn't a 100 millionaire. I didn't have hundreds of millions and 500 apartments and all that. And I started creating my course and I said, I want to teach people how to get into their first real estate deal. And when I started really narrowing it down, I said, I'm not just teaching real estate. That felt like 7 billion people. And I wasn't teaching people how to get lots of apartments and own 500 doors and own an apartment complex. And I wasn't teaching people how to build new homes. That's a really great industry for people who do it and have construction and a whole bunch of employees and all that kind of thing. I wasn't going to teach people who already had a bunch of real estate and wanted to do more. What I found in the little dot of what Think a Little Different was, my first teaching people how to make money with real estate program, is I showed people how to get into their first real estate deal. And do you know when I did my first course, I had already done like 5,000. No, I didn't. I did 42 real estate deals. 42. My first one, that was my second one. I had done like 35 real estate deals total when I did my first course that went nationwide and became one of the biggest real estate courses of all time. And guess what I told people? I told people I did 5,000. No, I didn't. I told them I've only done 32 real estate deals. I'm not a gazillion millionaire. But what I did figure out, because I didn't have money and didn't have experience, I figured out how to get in deals with little to no money down because I was desperate. I had no other choice. If you'd like to learn how to get in your deals the same way I did, I created a course. So I wasn't talking to any of these. I was just talking to that little dot. But that little dot is potentially thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people. Now, yesterday, I'm going to go through a few more of these examples, and I'm really going to anchor this in for you. If you remember yesterday, I talked about 3 different people who were in this industry. Nancy was the first one. Nancy is a Chinese immigrant who came to this country, and everybody told her, just get a service job at minimum wage. You're lucky to have it. Good thing to be in America. She didn't settle for that. She was smart. Just because she didn't know the language or the culture doesn't mean that she should take a crappy job. And I don't mean crappy, but she knew she deserved more. She worked hard, created a process, got an amazing job as a project manager, and then realized, hey, I can help other Chinese immigrants who come to our country and not have to settle. I can help them by teaching through self-education what I did. Now, talk about how scary that is. When she first started, she was scared to death thinking, I got to teach all these people. No, I actually just have to teach people that are immigrants to America. But I'm actually Chinese. So it's actually Chinese immigrants to America. And I want to teach those that are hustlers and want to do better. And I want to teach those that are Chinese immigrants in America that are hustlers that want to get a better job as a project manager. And guess what it was? It was this little tiny dot. How much more niche could you be than that? She is absolutely doing amazing, and she's thriving because, as you're going to learn tomorrow and the next day on how to elegantly share what's in your head with confidence, when she's talking to that dot of people, is there anybody more qualified on the planet to talk to those people than her? She went through the process. She migrated here. She doesn't speak the language. She got offered a crappy job. She went through the process. If you were a Chinese immigrant and wanted a better job, would you go to anyone in the world other than Nancy? Right? Put in the chat, who would go to Nancy? Right? It's quite a big dot. You're right. Okay. I want to give you another example here. Cyrene, she's here today. We had a great conversation with her. She's in one of our programs, and we were in a chat, we were in a training just like this in this room on Zoom. And when she shared what she did, I could feel the apprehension at first, like almost making an excuse. And when we narrowed down her dot, and again, I know she's here, I watched her smile, I watched her confidence, and I know she's going to impact so many women's lives, right? When she went through this, Cyrene, when she first started, she decided she wanted to help women get through menopause in a better way. Us men, we have no idea what that means, so let's not even pretend, right? But what she said was night sweats, gained weight, and then the worst part is the emotion she had. She said she didn't feel like she used to. She didn't think her husband looked at her in the same way. Like inside was going through turmoil. But what did she do? She obsessed on it. She read the right books, interviewed the right people, did everything in her power, basically a reporter of other people's knowledge. She found and put that all together, tested, tweaked. She got rid of the night sweats. She found a way to get the weight to where she was her ideal weight, where she felt amazing in her own skin. She got her thoughts back on track and felt better than she's ever. When you talked to her, you watched her light up like $1 million, right? Now here's the thing. Here's the thing I want to share with you guys. Is if Cyrene would think of serving 7 billion people, she would never do this. And if you think going through a mess, like I'm sure menopause can be a mess. We talked about yesterday going through the valley. She went through the valley, came out on the other side with a better path. Right? So if she thought of sharing with 7 billion people, that's intimidating. And it's like, who wants to talk about going through menopause with 7 billion people? She's not talking to everybody. She's just talking to women. And she's not talking to women that are probably under 40 or over 50. I think it's 40 to 50 something. She's not talking to most women. She's just talking to a little demographic of women. And she's not just talking to a little demographic of women. She's talking to a little demographic of women going through menopause that want to do it in a natural way. That excludes most of the world. But how many are left? Millions. She has millions of clients in this dot that need her, that she's actually doing. And this is the part I really want you to take away. And I want you to put this in the chat right now. You're going to learn a lot of this in the next couple of days. But if you don't share what you discovered, you're actually doing a disservice to women. I mean, if Cyrene didn't share this, she's actually doing a disservice to women who are struggling, who are suffering in silence. going through menopause and their thoughts are crazy. They think their husband's going to leave them, or they don't feel sexy anymore. Or I can't even pretend to know. I don't even want to use a share like I know. I have no freaking clue. But Cyrene does, and you do if you're going through it. And if you're not sharing something you've experienced and someone else is suffering in silence, you have to realize you are ethically obligated. And when you feel that way, it shifts everything about this industry. We get to be the fast track, the problem solver, the solution, the quicker way to the end result from people because we went through it. I want to share a little bit here. We'll come back. I might as well just stay right here. Pull up the screen here. Look at, and these are all people, if you pull up the screen here, Mike, these are all people that are on a platform that Tony and I created. All of them making sales, all of them everyday people doing cool stuff. How to avoid the 5 top tax traps when starting a new business. Could you think that could be a thing? It is, and it's selling, right? Look at this one. Excuse me. Brain Zoo. Explore, enhance, and empower your thinking, learning, and creativity. NLP. It's not something I bought, but people are buying it because they want to learn those pieces. Regular, everyday people taking, look at this one. Treat your dog's hips. Complete hands-off guide. Hands-on guide. Think about that. Treat your dog's hips. Would you think in a million years, but who wants to go to a vet? Who wants to learn it on their own when they have the opportunity to go online and go, I have a dog with some issues on the hips. Anybody else go through that would share? Now, it's not 7 billion people, right? It's not people in general. It's not just people with dogs. It's not just people with any dog. It's people with dogs, probably German Shepherds. I remember having one, always had hips issues, that want to do it at home naturally. It's a tiny little dot. Who would do that? They're selling courses online. That dot, I bet you there's millions of dogs with hip issues right now, and this amazing person is helping solve that, right? Look at this one. Travel sketching in Puerto Vallarta. Travel and sketch. I mean, think about that. You're like, who would buy that? It's selling on our platform right now. How crazy and cool this world, because we're evolving into such a cool place. And, excuse me. And when you get to a page like this, do you say, oh wait, I don't see his doctorate degree. I don't see his initials where he went to school. No. What you're looking is at somebody that's been through the experience and is now sharing it. I thought this one was cool. Orchids and crystals. Doesn't even have a subject line. It's just orchids and crystals, and it's selling. So I want you can pull that down. Excuse me one sec. I need some water. So I want you to think through that lens of what in your head right now. I would love in the chat right now. I get to see all the different chats here. Put in here what you think your dot is right now. We're not there yet. We're still narrowing this down. But what do you think your dot is? And don't call it anything but a dot. You could call it your superpower, your niche, but really it's just your dot. And again, the smaller you get, the more empowered you will feel to share it. The gentleman or the lady who is teaching people how to help cure your animal's hips. Could you imagine if they said, okay, we're going to put a whole bunch of veterinarians in front of you so you can teach them. Be like, no, I don't want veterinarians. Or what about, hey, how about cleaning dogs' teeth at home? That's not what her dot is or his dot is. It's one thing, and you put yourself in front of people with a dog with a hip issue, you're the expert. Now, here's the cool part. As we evolve, I want to come over here in a moment. I want to give you 4 categories, okay? You're understanding the dot. We're going to go deeper on the dot. But I want to give you 4 categories on how, through what lens, you're going to teach, okay? So the first one, number 1, is mess to message. Now, I've been doing this for a really long time, and now we've been helping people for a long time, and it boils down to these 4 categories. Now, what is a mess to a message, right? Think about that. Actually, pull up the screen, Mike. If you could pull up the slide, I want to show you. This is on our platform. This is selling right now. So, this is happening. This is the 7 principles to make sure your children are thriving during divorce. Listen, this is something I paid for. I paid for help. I bought a course. I bought a coach. I went through a workshop when I went through a divorce with my children. Listen, I'm not an advocate of divorce, but it was something that happened in my life half a decade ago. And since I was a child of 9 divorces, my parents were married 9 times between them, I was petrified for my children in a way I can't even explain. I guess I could explain if you've been through it. The thought of seeing my kids half the time, the thought of not being an influence, the thought of what if I don't get along with my ex and they have to experience some of the craziness we did. It was the first time in my life I had true panic attack over my children, and it was really tough. My previous wife and I, we knew it was time to separate. We had been kind of living in the house apart. I'm sorry, I'm getting way personal. For a long time. We're great friends, great co-parents, but we knew it was time to go. But when I thought about leaving my kids, it was so brutal. And what I did, because this is my space, I found people that had gone through it that were willing to share with me how I could make a child-centered divorce, how my kids wouldn't be fragmented, how they wouldn't have to be someone for mom and someone for dad like I always felt they had to be. And you know what took my anxiety away? People like this. People like the X Factor who would be willing to say, I went through it. I get it. But here's the 7 things I've done, right? This was a mess for them at one point. This was a mess. Now it's their message. Look at, and I don't want to go to extremes here, but this amazing woman making sales on our platform, 6 months of coaching for young widows and widowers. I can't even imagine what that's like. My heart goes out to I don't know if her name's on here, Jen, right? But I'm sure she went through the experience, a mess I can't fathom, but she knows that other people are going through that mess. And now she's taking her mess, taking it into a message and empowering people to get through this in a different way, right? And it goes on and on. Here's one, master your anxiety and stress, right? I mean, how cool is that? Another one is Born for This, Evergreen Immersion, Marketplace Edition. Giving people the ability to, you can pull that slide down. Giving people the ability, I drew this, I'm going to put this over here. Remember, I drew this yesterday, day 1, of people go through life and a mess happens and they go through the hardship of trying to figure it out. But during that journey, you are taking the mess and gaining skills and capabilities to understand how to get through it. It lives in most all of you right now. The bridge, right, Christine? It's the bridge. We're bridge builders. So what are all those examples I just shared with you? They are people that went through the valley and now they're sharing the bridge. So let me ask you, what mess? And put it in the chat. Write it down on your journal. Seriously, put this out in the world. What mess have you gone through that could be your message? How could you save someone? Let's refer back to your 20-year-old self. What mess have you gone through that if you had a week to prepare, you would explain it to your 20-year-old self and say, hey, this is what happens. We went through this, but I'm on the other side. Don't do this. Don't listen. Trust your gut. Go after your intuition. Fuel your intuition. Don't believe. I don't know what you would share. Relationship, divorce, building a family on your own, disabled. I mean, look at this coming in. Guys, I also don't want you to think I'm trying to oversimplify this. This is a real industry. This is a real business. This is an industry heading towards $1 billion a day. But I hope you see what I'm sharing are everyday people who got the courage, overcame imposter syndrome, made it real, and then got sales. And then it's addicting because you're like, oh my God, I helped someone get through that mess. They sent me money. Let's do it again. And let's do it again. Make sense? You guys feeling this? All right. The second one, if the first one is mess to message, the second one is your skill or expertise. Okay? A skill or expertise. Let's bring up these slides. This is 6-week low-carb nutrition support with Dr. Keenan, right? Here's Mark teaches people how to launch an app. Complete guide to launching a profitable app. How cool is that, right? Look at this one. 5-minute bookkeeping. Show you how to do your bookkeeping better. I don't want that course. I get freaked out over bookkeeping. But somebody does because that course is selling. Here's another one. This is a cool one. Etsy Store Bootcamp, a guide to your next 100 sales on Etsy. Regular person doing amazing, selling their stuff on Etsy. How many people in here ever thought about, I wonder if I could sell something on Etsy, right? Look, we got about 10% of the hands. Would you want to figure it out on your own? You can pull that down. Would you want to figure it out on your own? Or would you say, let me go find somebody who's already done it. Let me cut a small check. Let's pay for speed. Go through the course. Learn how to be on Etsy. So you have a skill, an expertise. You have something that you've experienced that someone's starting on day one. Again, think of that 20-year-old self, that value. If you think about the value and then you shrink it down to the dot, I hope you're seeing all these people aren't saying how to do everything. They're how to do that one thing, how to do that little dot that lives right here. Okay, number three. Number three is a passion. Now, I love this. I love thinking through the eyes of passion because let's bring them up. Again, more great courses. Brand book course. How to do a course or a book. She's passionate about writing a book. Now she's teaching other people how to do it. Songwriting mastery. 8 weeks to write a hit soul song. It's not even how to write a song. It's 8 weeks on how to write a hit soul song. Not everybody wants to do that, but obviously they do because she's selling courses on how to do that, right? This one, how to get started filming yourself, right? How to be better at golf. If that's a passion of yours, golf's not a passion of mine. I'm horrible. I golf 2 times a year with Tony. It's embarrassing, but we just go to hang out. But if you want to get better at golf, you can figure it out yourself or learn from someone who's got a passion about it, right? I'm just trying to spark something to let you see. And then the last one is being the reporter. Now, if you remember being the reporter, if you remember what Tony shared yesterday, when Tony started in this industry, he was 18, 19 years old. He didn't have life experience, but what he did, he went to 32 Jim Rohn events, and he knew everything Jim Rohn taught and shared. So what did he do? He went out for years and just taught Jim Rohn stuff and said, this is I learned from Jim Rohn. Was it less valuable coming from Tony than Jim Rohn? No, because he reported on it obsessively. Think about, anybody ever read that monster of a book, Money Master the Game? Tony's book, it is a monster. Like, if I want to be as tall as Tony, I could just step on that book, right? It's huge. Tony is amazing at finances, but he's not the finance guy. Building wealth, he's good, but he's not the master at it. What did he do? He became the reporter. He went and interviewed the top financial advisors in the world, correlated their knowledge, and wrote a book that became one of the best-selling financial books in the history of the world. Tony's not the financial guy. He reported on it, right? We have one of our top sellers on our platform. You can pull this up. Chairman of the boards. He just manages his own finances. He studied so many other people as a reporter that he's doing his job doing wealth management at home. I love this one. I got to meet Del Jane. Del Jane is so amazing. And this is a really cool story because Del Jane was a business consultant. And when she started working with Tony and I, she thought, I'm going to teach other people how to be a business consultant. And then she said, you know what? I feel it, but my heart is driving me towards something that has been like a passion, something I've reported on. She had been going, as she called it, the foo-foo business, right? She called it in pursuit of the mystical. She said foo-foo, not me. But from crystals and alignments and your chakra and things that maybe aren't my unique thing. She said, but this, I've been going to courses, reading books on it for like 15 years. And my heart was telling me to go in this direction. So she did. She became the reporter of everything she learned in all those events. And her first workshop, she was so embarrassed that she tells the story of she sent a direct message out to friends and everybody she ever went to courses. And she was so embarrassed that she slammed her laptop down and ran out the door because she said, oh my God, that was the dumbest thing in the world. No one's going to buy this from me. Why would I even think that? And she said she wouldn't open her laptop up for like 6 hours. She goes, I open it. They're all going to be like, Del Jane, you're a fool. Guess what happened when she opened her laptop? She sold out her first event. It was amazing. And I'm not saying you guys are going to sell out your first event. She did unbelievable. When she told us her success, it was off the charts. Again, I'm not saying it's a magical money machine. You get rich overnight. Again, you know, Tony and I, that's not what we're about. But what's possible when you understand this? And then the last piece of this that I really want to make you really lock it in is when you figure out your dot, and then you know that you got the big picture, you're either going to go and message, a skill or an expertise, a passion or a reporter. Then in today's world, we get to do cool stuff, right? You could be like, and I want to bring this up. You could be like Mindy. Bring up Mindy for a second. I got the chance to have a couple conversations. Mindy's so awesome. She was in corporate America, had enough. She felt on the inside she was a creative. Who in here has ever been in a business style world, but you know your heart's a creative, right? She said she knew it. She quit because she wanted to be a photographer. She went to a photography class and it was so boring. So she just started walking around New York City, taking pictures on the move. She got so good at it. She started a little business of teaching other people how to do it in New York City. And then what happened? COVID happened and nobody was coming. So she converted online. At first she told herself, I'm too old. I live in the wrong area. There's too many people online. Fortunately, she started working with Tony and I. She got the confidence, beat up that imposter. She found the dot, decided to do a course. So let's go over here as three ways. I'm sloppy on my board, but the first one is a course. She decided to create a course. You know how she did it? She filmed it on her iPhone. And she taught what she would usually teach people on how to do photography through a course. And in today's world, we have the opportunity to get that message out through the platform Tony and I created and other amazing delivery systems, right? It's not like it used to be when I had to put books in a warehouse and all that kind of stuff. The technology has made life easy. So Mindy, so amazing. She's one of the top sellers, selling course after course, teaching people how to be creative with their photography. She filmed it on her phone. It's just such an amazing story. And then second, you could do a workshop. A workshop is something that I believe is like, you could do it through Zoom, right? We're on Zoom right now. That's how you're learning. Like in the old days, a workshop might mean that someone has to jump on a plane and fly where you are. You got to be face to face. We aren't used to that anymore. We're used to this, where we have 900,000 people signed up virtually. But what if you had 10 people signed up virtually, paying you to come in 3 weeks from now on a Zoom call while you're home, teaching your message, your skill or expertise, your passion or reporter. That's where the world has evolved to. And then third, and I want you to have these three. The third is a mastermind. Now that's a word that can seem like, ooh, what is a mastermind? A mastermind is, Napoleon Hill said it. A mastermind is when two people come together, share their ideas, it creates a third mind. A mastermind is just bringing great, amazing-minded people together, and they share their beliefs, they share with their breakthroughs, they share their biggest struggles, they share their biggest goals, and everybody shares what makes all of them get better. It's the example of the tide rises all boats, right? That's what a great mastermind. I've attended masterminds for 20 years. I'll go to a marketing mastermind, and everybody there will share their best marketing strategies. And then they'll raise their hand and I'm having trouble with marketing. Everybody shares, they all get smarter. So you could label these anything. It's a weekend Zoom call. It's a 3-hour workshop on our platform. We have the opportunity to have delivery systems, and why this is going to be the new norm. You see, when Tony and I started, there was so much resistance. Ruth, I see you shaking your head up and down, right? It's like when we started, there was so much resistance. We had to spend $100,000+ to do an infomercial and book TV and have people call and put product in the warehouse and then ship the product. In today's world, to not oversimplify this, but when you find the dot, when you pick one of these, and it doesn't even mean you have to stick with them, you start with one. And then you have the opportunity to follow a path, which we're going to teach this on day 4, to elegantly share in a course. Or create a workshop where you have people live with you in 3 weeks from today, learning from you. Do your first one for free. Watch how they freak out. The next one, you'll realize that you could take it to another level, or create a mastermind, or do group coaching, all the same. Build a community, all the same. You could even deliver this like so many of you. There's probably 40,000 of you watching right now. Where? On Facebook. You can do this all within Facebook. Everything you need to fuel you building a bridge and maximizing your results, impacting other people's lives, creating real success from home, owning your future, owning your time, going where the puck is going, getting in front of the wave. It is all lined up right now. Again, I'm not trying to overstress this, but I would hate for you to look back in 5 years and go, damn it, how come I didn't jump then? And that's why we're doing these 5 days. That's why we have amazing people coming here. That's why we're coming up in a few minutes here. We got an amazing guest that's going to light it up for you. We have 3 powerful guests today that are all just hell-bent on pulling back the curtain, showing you why you can't miss this, right? And then the last thing, the last piece I want to share is when you know what the dot is, and we're, again, day 4 is going to be something really powerful. Like, do not miss any day. They all stack on each other, right? And if you get one piece of info and you go, oh, maybe not for me, then you're missing out on how we might solve that for you on day 3 or day 4 or day 5. Make sense? Tell me if you're all in. Right now, everybody commit in the 2 chats, 3 chats. I'm all in. If I'm putting this energy out, if we're putting the time, if 14 speakers are flying in to serve you, it's all in. And who's ready to take action in this industry? Who's ready to take your dot? Find your message, skill, passion, expertise, and then delivery systems. But here's the cool part. Here's the cool part. When you understand your dot, then to find the people that want your dot, that want to learn how to make money with a car, how to cut hair better, how to get through menopause, how to get a better job because they're a Chinese immigrant. When we know our dot, we just reverse engineer it. And instead of social media using you, this is day 4 now, it'll come up, we'll show you how to do this. Instead of social media using you, you can use it to identify your ideal client, those that want your dot, those that want Mindy to teach them how to do photography, right? That's what we want in today's world, right? We want to find our dot, and then we have access to the entire world and fine-tune the exact people that need what we share, where our confidence goes up and they say thank you. This is your ideal client. And guess what? Last thing I want to say. You know how you already know your ideal client? You know why? Because in most cases, Angela, you already hit it. I see you. Your ideal client, Brianna, Anik, I see you all. Who's your ideal client? Daniela. You know who she is or he is? It's you of last year. It's you of 5 years ago. It's you of 10 years ago. Do you know how to talk to your 20-year-old self? Do you know how to talk to your 30-year-old self, your 50-year-old self? Martha, I see you. That's who your ideal client is. So when you put that frame in mind, the courage comes up. The imposter gets killed and crushed because you know how to speak to you. And when you speak to you, you eliminate 7 billion. No, you don't eliminate 7 billion. You eliminate most of the 7 billion. And who's left standing? The exact people who need what you have to offer. Guys, this might have been a lot to take in for some of you. It might have been absolutely what you needed. And for some of you that are already in the game, isn't it amazing to break it down and see what's next? Maybe you have a mess-to-message product and you've been doing it so long, it's time to create a skill product. Or maybe you've done a skill product, it's time to create a passion product. Guys, all I can say is the stars are aligned. The economy is shifting. The access is there. People are cutting checks for speed faster than ever before in history. And I don't know anything that can allow you to serve your heart in such a big way as this can in today's crazy shifting world. And how do we change a crazy shifting world? We step up as role models and leaders. We gain capabilities from people who've already done it. We pay for the bridge. We get the bridge. And then we take the uncomfortable action to make it real. All right, you guys feeling this morning? All right. So, with that said, we have an amazing guest coming up. Now, she is a world-renowned motivational speaker for more than 30 years. She must have started at 3. That's all I know. She's actually in the Guinness Book of World Records for starring in the most fitness videos in the world. She's got one of the top podcasts in the entire world. But that's all the stuff you read off of a sheet that goes a mile long. I want to tell you about a woman that I had the chance to meet 7 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. And we hit it off in 5 minutes talking about our families and what's important. We didn't talk about how the success we've had and all that. We talked about what means the most to us and how impacting lives mean the most to us. And we talked about ADD, and we talked about feeling like an imposter, and we talked about failing, and we talked about things that went wrong. And we also talked about how we both love lighting people up and giving them exactly what they need to thrive in today's time. You probably know who she is, and if you don't, that's okay. You're about to know this amazing woman who I'm really happy to call a friend. She's here to serve. She's on her own dime, coming here to light it up, to give you the capabilities to thrive. Can we please give it up for Miss Chalene Johnson?
Thank you. That was fun. That was awesome. So what's up, you guys?
I said Chalene Johnson.
Is this my song? Okay, I can see everybody dancing. Up on your feet, let's go. If I can dance in these shoes, you can dance in your chair. Hey, hey, ho. Thank you so much for having me, you guys. I'm so pumped to be here. The only thing I'm the most nervous about is I just want to stay and talk to you all day, but I'm going to keep my eye on that timer and make sure that I don't go over. So for those of you who probably a lot of you have never seen me or met me before, maybe you have if you watch late night TV, because I do a lot of infomercials or have done a lot of infomercials. But what you might not know about me is I have been an entrepreneur all my life. My father was an entrepreneur, grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, but I like to say kind of old school entrepreneurs, where basically it's like a job and you're going bankrupt a lot of the time and you're working 90 hours a week. Old school entrepreneurship is when, at least what I learned from my dad, is just try to figure it all out yourself. Just figure out how to make that ad, figure out how to design your own website, figure out how to, don't invest in help. You'll save money by trying to figure it out yourself, which is not true. And I learned that the hard way. But I had to learn it the hard way by doing a lot of different things. And so I put myself through college at Michigan State University. I have this in common with Dean. I flipped cars. My very first business I ever started was called the All Michigan Auto Swap Meet. I'm from Michigan. What's up, Midwest? What's up? Yeah, there we are. But so that's what I did. And then I was like, I can make money doing this thing, solving a problem that I had, which was trying to sell used cars to make money to pay for college. But I was doing a lot of things. I was working as a paralegal. I was in network marketing. I was writing how-to books. I was a personal trainer. I was a fitness instructor. I thought I wanted to be an attorney. I wanted to help women start their own business, and I wanted to do that by hosting these workshops and seminars. I was trying to do all of these things, and I noticed very painfully that I was kind of leading the same type of life as my dad, which isn't like an amazing thing, except I didn't want to be working 80 hours a week. And I didn't want to constantly feel like nothing was really working other than me working all the time. But I was so afraid to pick the one thing. Are you with me? Sometimes you're like, what? I could do a bunch of, I'm interested in kind of all these things, but I'm afraid to pick one because what if it's the wrong thing? Right? But I invested in a mentor who basically said, you have to pick one thing or you're going to be in this situation forever and ever. The thing I wanted to pick, a lot of people don't know this, the thing that I wanted to pick, I wanted to teach. I mean, I'm a teacher at heart. I wanted to teach women how to start a business. And I tried doing that. I tried holding seminars and no one showed up except my friends. And then I realized there was this opportunity, and I decided to focus exclusively on fitness. I had to choose one thing. FYI, I felt like such an imposter doing that. Trust me, I'm a confident person. I knew my program. I knew the workout I created was freaking unbelievable. But I didn't study exercise science. I didn't study kinesiology. I didn't look like your typical fitness girl. You couldn't see, I wasn't so lean that you could see my spleen like some of these women, God bless them. I didn't look the part. My degree is in justice, morality, and constitutional democracy. I was so afraid people would find that out and say, what are you doing? Excuse me, what are you doing? Right? I just was I wanted somebody else to do it. So I actually hired other people to be in the videos. I created this workout and I hired other people to be in the videos because I'm I don't look the part and I don't want people to judge me. I don't want people to say what, you have no business. And then one of the times when we were filming a video, my lead didn't show up. They got sick. I just had a baby. Ladies, how do you feel about your body right after you had a baby? not so great. And I'm like, oh, and now I have to go on video. Perfect. And I did. And I was just like myself. And that was the video that like really took off for me. And it made me realize like there are people who are looking for someone who looks different and who talks a little differently and has a kind of a different approach to all of this and maybe doesn't know about where the origin or insertion of the hamstring is, but they know how to have a good time. And that was my sole focus. Now, here's what I did. I focused exclusively on fitness, but I had a million other interests. And sometimes people don't want to hear this, but can I tell you, fitness wasn't the thing I was the most passionate about. It just wasn't. I mean, I liked it. I loved it. But it wasn't like the thing I felt like I was put on this planet to do. I feel like I was put on this planet to help people start a business. So this is going to help you. This is going to help you figure out what your thing is, what I'm about to say. Anytime I got together with other people and they wanted to talk about fitness, I'd be like, la, 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 la. I didn't want to talk about it. I'm like, it's boring to me. I'm sorry. But when we start talking about business, I'm like, okay, let me give you a few notes here. And I would just I couldn't help but be a know-it-all. There is something that when people start talking about it, you can't help but being a know-it-all. I'm going to look at your chat. Am I right? Like there's something where you're like, let me just tell you how this is. Let me tell you how to do this. Let me tell you how to avoid this. Okay. And I started paying attention to the fact that I didn't feel that way about fitness. I felt that way about business. And I decided to then change my dot again. So the first thing I want to do is let you everyone just take a nice deep breath in and exhale out and know this. You can change your dot like 500 times if you want. And each time, if you really go all in on that dot, you're going to make money. And you're going to have fun doing it. You don't have to do one thing for the rest of your life. This isn't going on your tombstone. You can change it, and you will. But you first have to choose one and go all the way in. When I chose fitness, that's all I posted about in social media. That's all I talked about. That's all that I focused on. I wanted to be known for that. But once that light bulb went off in my head that said, I want to teach people how it is. I've had multiple #1 fitness infomercials. I want to teach people that the reason why I've sold tens of millions of exercise DVDs is not because I'm like the most knowledgeable fitness person you've ever met. It is because I know business and marketing. And that's what I want to talk about, and that's what I want to teach. So guess what I did? Focused solely on that. Just that. I stopped posting about fitness. Is fitness still part of my life? Totally. Of course it is. But when you really want to be known for something and help people for something, you have to go all in on that thing and not be afraid that it's the wrong thing. Okay, so the first thing I want you to know that hopefully is a relief is that you can change it a million times, and you will. And if you have the right framework and the right mentors, you'll know how each time to change it, you can keep leveling up your income. That's #1. #2 is you have to go all in. You can't have a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this. And, you know, I'm a chiropractor, and I also dabble in essential oils, and I like to talk about plant-based eating and like all of these things because, as Donald Miller says, when you confuse, you lose, right? And it's really confusing, though, because when you look at people, a lot of the speakers, you're going to see this. If you look at like our social media and what we do, you probably see we talk about a lot of different things. And so you go, wow, well, success leaves clues. That's what I should be doing too. Not until you become known. You have to become known for that one thing. So can I have you take out a piece of paper, and we're going to go through a little exercise. Make this fun for you, okay? So I want you to just, we talk about the mess in your message, and sometimes you'll hear people say, like, think about the most painful thing that you've gone through and how you can help other people with that. But sometimes you don't want to go back there. You're not ready. You haven't done therapy. You can't teach from an open wound. You need for it to be healed over. And so I just want to say, like, don't worry so much about the pain. I want you to just think about maybe 5 to 8 things that you've figured out okay, that you've figured out or you've overcome. And you could definitely tell other people, you could give them some tips, and you could help them avoid some of the pitfalls, or you could save them money, or you could save them time, etc. Right? So just 5 to 8 things. Like, so randomly, if I was doing this myself, I would say how to raise children to be able to buy their own cars. I figured that out. How to stay married for over 26 years. I figured that out. How to be a successful entrepreneur with ADHD. I figured that out. So keep listing all the things. Like, they don't have to be earth-shattering. They don't have to be like so huge or like no one else has done this. But just I want you more in particular. I want you to think about the things you like. And I also kind of love being a know-it-all on these things. I like talking about it. I figured it out, and I like talking about it. Because if you pick a mess that you're still ashamed of and you still have too much pain around it, you're not going to want to teach on it. So pick something you're super dope excited about. Okay, then circle the 2 or 3 that you like literally people can't shut you up. If you hear that they're struggling with this, you're like, okay, come here. And you want to like tell them what to do with their lives, right? So pick the 2 or 3 things that you're like, oh, I love talking about this. I love telling people how to get this right. Okay, that was step 2. Step 3 is now, and here's the part that I think a lot of people miss. What problem did you solve? What was the problem? So like when I was watching your chat, I saw, and this is interesting, I saw Mark say that he wants to share the gospel with the world. Love that. Mark, what problem did it solve for you? So think about your own reason why you figured that out. Like what was the problem that you started with? Okay? What was the problem? So when I think about myself, the problem that I had is that I was doing business and entrepreneurship the old-fashioned way, thinking that I needed to figure everything out myself. I needed to do everything. I was afraid to outsource. I was afraid to invest in help. I thought that was wasteful. I thought like, you're supposed to be resourceful. Watch a YouTube video, figure this stuff out, right? So I want you to think about what problem you were solving. That's the problem I had to solve. I want to teach other entrepreneurs there's a better way. There's a quicker way to do that, okay? And then lastly, who? Don't say everybody, because if you say everybody, you're already missing out. So when I think about who it was I wanted to help the easily distracted, perhaps they have ADHD and are undiagnosed, but I wanted to help the easily distracted entrepreneur who has like a million interests and they're like all over the place and crazy. And like, I wanted to help them. That's who I wanted to help. Who do you want to help? And the more specific you can be, the better. So if you're to say, I just want to help women lose weight after a baby, it's just not specific enough. Like I want to help Nigerian moms who have dystasis, the separation, I forget what that's called. Rectus dystasis, is that the word? That separation. I want to help be that specific. What specifically? So I saw Chad said, I want to help people who have back pain figure out how to relieve their back pain through self-massage. Love that. Be even more specific. Who? Like men, women over 40, like be as specific as possible. But you have to start with one thing. Like, so think about it. You know this, right? Amazon is huge. I got to back up. Can you see my skirt? Can we get a shot of my skirt? This is a shopping tip for the ladies. Can you see my skirt? Do I have to keep backing up? Okay. See the skirt, lady? I can't walk in. It's like I'm Peg Bundy. But I got the skirt for $14 on Amazon. What? Hey. Yeah, I'll hook you up with the link later. Anyways, but my point is, when Amazon first came out, they only did one thing. Books. That was it. Books. That was it. Now, I can buy a friggin' amazing skirt, and I also bought these shoulder pads that are driving me crazy. They're supposed to stick to your shoulders, but it's like sweating off. This is a shoulder pad. It's gross, though. It's driving me... Sorry. I recommend the skirt. I don't recommend these shoulder pads. One moment, please. Okay. My point is this. If Amazon had started with like all the things, sticky shoulder pads and skirts and food, like it wouldn't have worked because you wouldn't have known to go there. We all went there because it was like, this is the place that you go for food. For books. I can go there for food, but this is the place you go for books. You want to be the place that people go for the solution to that particular problem. So let me tell you this. I just want to give you a quick social media tip, all right? And I want to give you an assignment before my time's up here. Give you an assignment. I want you to pick one or two things. Actually, I want you to pick two. You know that list that you just created? Just pick the two things that you friggin' love talking about and post on those two things only. I don't care about your dog. I'm sure it's really cute. That's great that you had a spinach salad for lunch. Nobody cares. Like, pick those two things and just post on them, and then look at the engagement. Look, and it might be subtle, but notice which of those topics people want to know more about and are asking more questions and are engaged. Notice which of those two topics you get super excited about and you want to talk more about it and you want to go live about it and you've got a million tips and you've got so many ideas. Pick two things and then watch which one kind of does a little bit better, and then take that one and go all in for a month and only talk about that. Can you do that? Don't worry about your dot. Don't worry about your niche. These are all fancy words. Here's my question. And I'm going to watch the chat to see your answers. Can you focus on one thing in social for a month? Can you? Just the one thing, just for a month, not a week, literally a month. I did this personally. I already have a big social media following, but it was growing about this fast. Right? And then I decided, what if I niche down even further? And instead of just talking about business and marketing, I just talked to those people who are highly distracted. My ADHDers, my ADD, my people who are like, I am all over the place. What if I just talked to them? Only them. Just them. And it was kind of scary because I'm like, I mean, not everyone has ADHD. Like, my husband is like laser focused, but I'm going to create content that like he wouldn't be able to relate to. Right? So I did that for 30 days. And in 30 days time, all of my social media platforms grew huge. On TikTok alone, I grew 90,000 followers in 7 days. What? Because people were looking for something super duper specific. Now, will I be very niched on talking to entrepreneurs with ADHD 3 years from now? Probably not. I'm going to change my dot. I can change my dot anytime I want. Anytime I'm like really excited about something else that I have figured out, I get to change my focus. If you've got the framework, you can change your focus as your interests and your passions change. And that's how you live a life with purpose. You don't find one purpose, you live a life with purpose. And when you do that, and you've got the right framework, you can change the trajectory of your life, your happiness. You can live life on your terms. For me, that means spending a lot of time with my family. I see you, Jolynn. I see you. She's just hands up. Great. I love it. Yeah, you can change the trajectory of your current life. For me, that means I want to spend a lot of time with my family. That's the most important thing for me. My husband and I right now are full-time caregivers for my father-in-law who has Alzheimer's. And I am so glad that I figured this stuff out so that I can be present. And when I do step into work mode, it's stuff I freaking love. And you can do that too. It has been an honor to have spent this time with you guys. Thank you. Don't forget your assignment. This is so great. What a great group. I love you guys.
Chalene Johnson. I thought it was a voice that sounds cool. Like,
don't steal my shoulder pads.
No, I wouldn't have known there were shoulder pads. Can we give it up for Chalene? Thank you.
Okay.
Come on, she flew in for you. She's going to be able to watch you in the chat. Let her know what you feel in the chat. You got enough energy? You ready for more? You guys good for the day? You want to come back tomorrow? Are you ready for more? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready for more. Tell me if you're all in. We're not done. Hey, we're doing great on time today. We're going to try to stick to those 2 hours, but we have capabilities to deliver. You have an industry to crush. Whether you're just jumping in, you're thinking about it, you're already in it. These are the capabilities that cut. This is sharpening the axe, right? This is how you go to the next level. And here's the cool part. I was sitting there, I took a whole bunch of notes. I hope you guys did too. And I was looking, how cool was it for I shared it, and I shared a lot in like 40 minutes. But I wanted you just to really realize how when we narrow it down, it really makes a difference. And Chalene, to say you don't have to stay with the same dot, how'd that hit home for some of you, right? I see you, Stephanie Phillips. What's up? Jennifer. Same with me, Yolanda, Linda. Listen, if you remember what I said, I started with Motor Millions, because cars were my thing. But then I evolved. I was doing so well with real estate, I evolved to real estate. And then I became a multiple New York Times best-selling author. I did books obsessively because my teacher in 7th grade said, you'll never amount to anything. You're dumb. You can't read. I wanted her to see my book. Every time she goes to the bookstore, unfortunately, she's got to see my face. If she goes through an airport, I'm usually in the front thing. I did that for you, Ms. Thompson. Thank you. Anyway, I digress. Dunny, I see you laughing at me, but I thought about that. For a fact I thought about it. She was probably in the airport going, oh my God, that's my student. I called him stupid a lot. And she went and got in her old beat up car. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. I digressed. But what's cool is I went from cars, then I taught people how to do real estate, because I've done thousands and thousands of real estate deals in my life, and I taught people how I did that. And then I was so enamored by personal growth that I knew that you could give someone the greatest tactics in the world, but if they don't implement it, doesn't work. So I went deep and I wrote Millionaire Success Habits, and I built a course on personal development, and that book went on to sell almost 1 million copies. And now, for the last 3 years, my complete obsession is showing people how to be in the industry I just spent 25 years in. The industry Tony spent 45 years in. So I've moved my dot. But what you're learning here is a framework. And we haven't even started. We're only halfway through day 2. But you're learning a framework. And you can learn more of a framework from Tony and I. So whatever your dot is, you could shift so your life grows. If I was still teaching people about cars, I wouldn't be the man I am today. I wouldn't be in front of you. We wouldn't have the chance to impact almost 1 million people's lives, right? I grew, but I still follow the same framework. Secondly, I love how she said, go even deeper. Chalene gave some examples, like go deeper, like be more specific. And our gut, I just want to share this, our gut tells us to go wider because there's more people. Right? Our gut says, oh, we need to open it up. No, you got to get smaller. And when you get smaller, that's how you get into this industry. And usually that little tiny dot, that little niche is still potentially millions of people. So don't be afraid to be more specific. Also, I love what she said about Amazon. Amazon started with books and then ended up having everything in the history of the world, even shoulder pads that I didn't even know were a thing. I didn't know that you put like sticky little shoulder pads in there. I mean, I think they'd look good on me. I'd look taller. Or maybe not. Maybe my neck would look shorter. I don't know. But maybe I'll borrow them. We'll see what they look like second half here. But think about that. One thing when we're starting, again, and I know it's a third of brand new people. Didn't even know this was a thing maybe, but you came because you liked one of the people who suggest you. Thank you for staying with us and being open-minded. This is how your life changes. This is how you're not left behind. This is how you own your future. Go where the puck is, right? I keep addressing it. Those in it, those just dabbling. Thank you all for being here. But if you realize that when you pick something specific that you can talk about it in today's delivery system, you can have the opportunity to do the thing that's the most exciting in the world. Get your first sale. I showed you all those examples earlier. Those people are like, who's going to want to learn how, oh my God, someone wants to learn how to fix hips on dogs? Amazing. And when that proof of concept comes in, when the person gets your knowledge, when that revenue hits your bank account, it's a completely different world. And the reason I teed that up, because some of you already know that feeling, but we want more of that. That's how we serve more people. That's how we impact more lives, right? I love that. It's not 200 things. The last thing I'll say as an entrepreneur, on any one of those 3 levels, this is my ADD kicked in. I went squirrel on you. But I have a silly analogy that I want you guys all to remember. When you're a starting entrepreneur, or you start getting a taste of success, or you're even growing, I picture it like a tree. Now, I'm 52 years old right now as I stand here with you guys, and I've been in business since I was 17, doing firewood and flipping cars. So I've been in it a long time. Some of you more than me, but longer than probably most. And I used to think when I started to work and things started to get momentum, I got excited. Look at it like a tree. That's why I'm doing this, why my hands might look weird. I'm doing this because I think of a tree. And when we get excited, we start thinking of all the opportunities. Oh my God, I could build this, then I could do that. And then I can get t-shirts and I can get merchandise and I can be on YouTube and iPad and on iTunes and I can have a podcast. Oh my God, I'm going to crush TikTok. And you start thinking of all the things, and I visualize it like we're thinking of all the leaves on the tree. And there's so many leaves, they're endless. And when we think about so many leaves, we don't know where to start. And then we get complexity. And then when, like Tony said yesterday, complexity is the enemy of execution. You're looking at so many leaves. Should I do TikTok, YouTube, this one, that? Should I teach this, that? And all of a sudden you're like, I don't know which one to do first. You know what? I'm going to do what I used to do. I'll be back to this later. And all of a sudden a year goes by. So I want you to think about this. Instead of thinking of all the leaves on the tree, I see Enya and Amy. Instead of thinking of all the leaves, this is what I've learned about being an entrepreneur for 34 years. We have to build the base of the tree. You got to get the roots in. That's what Chalene just shared. One thing, one dot, one product, one focus on Instagram. Go more specific, more deep. Make the dot half the size of the original dot. When you put all your focus, you go deep, you don't go wide. And all of a sudden, you start attracting those right people and you start getting sales and you start getting momentum. Build the base of that tree, build the roots. And as it grows, then you pick one extra leaf at a time. And then 2 leaves, and then maybe merchandise, then maybe TikTok, then maybe YouTube. But let's get the foundation done, because you can't push over a tree when it's got roots. But you could surely get overwhelmed trying to make sure all the leaves are perfect. Does that make sense? No matter where you are in business, let me know if that makes sense. I have used that analogy in my businesses forever, because you can imagine, I get offered a lot of businesses, a lot of opportunities right now, and I'm still like, I want all the leaves. And when I do, I notice my base company starts suffering a little, and I go back to the base, boom, the tree is strong. And then I could slowly put more leaves on the tree, more businesses, more, arrows in my quiver. Okay, you guys ready? You have energy for our next presenter? Do we have energy for my next presenter? All right. So there we go. That's what I'm talking about. So if we go, again, by the laundry list, this next gentleman is the world's leading high-performance coach. He is a multiple 3-time New York Times best-selling author. He's released 20-plus online personal development courses, over 3 million students in 100 countries. He's got one of the top podcasts with over 60 million views, 10 million followers across his brands. And I'm looking at the cheat sheet. It could go on and on. But I want to tell you about one of my dearest friends in the world. And that's who's coming on. Someone that I know behind the scenes. Someone that I know the work he does when no one's watching. Someone who has made an impact on my life. He's someone I reach out to when I need advice, and I'm glad that he can reach out to me. He's not just someone that you call a friend because I've seen him sometimes. He's a true brother on the path. He's an incredible human, amazing husband, and a really dear friend. Someone that truly love, and he's here to serve, and there could be no better example, and no one teaches it as well as my dear friend, Mr. Brendon Burchard. Can we give it up for Brendon Burchard?
What's up, guys?
What's up,
my God? Let's go! Oh, Steve, what's up, brother? Hey, everybody! G. What's up, everybody? Wow. Steve, congratulations to the whole team there. Hi, everybody. I see your beautiful faces from around the world here joining us. It's such a thrill to be here. I wish I was there with you and I could dance all around the stage and jump and everything, but I'm beaming in just like many of you are, and it's an honor to be here with you guys. I would just love to share why I love to do what I get to do. I'd love to share why I love this industry, all the people you've been meeting and seeing and learning from, and what our lives are like. I'd love to share the obstacles that are going to get in your way, both like mentally and like tactically. And hopefully in sharing my own journey, you say, oh yeah, okay, I can do this. I can start, because if this dumb Montana kid can do it, maybe somebody else could too. For those who know me, I've been in this industry and literally called it, the first person to call it an industry in 2007, to take it from that time when, I don't know if you all remember back in 2006 and 7, it was kind of like the speaker industry or the motivational speaker industry. And then there was a life coach industry. And then there was a thought leader industry and an experts industry. And now it's the creator economy. And now it's the self-education movement. And we've all called it lots of different things. But you know what it is? Please listen. It is people who take great joy in sharing their journey and interests and passions with other people and helping people. People ask me all the time, like, what do you do? I'm like, I share my passions. I help people. I mean, you can add other language on it. Maybe you're a writer. Maybe you want to be a teacher. Maybe you want to train on the internet, create your online course, do a webinar, do a seminar, do what Dean is doing one day. I mean, we all have these tactical things we might want to do, but what is it? It's you bringing joy to the world by sharing what you're interested in, what you're passionate about, sharing the hard truths about life that you've learned and how you overcame them. It's as simple as all of us doing a little bit of self-reflection to realize the blessings that we have received and wanting to share some of those with other people who are struggling with the same things we've struggled with, or sharing our passions or the things that we collect with other people so they can see it and they can also take some joy from it. I mean, at the end of the day, I always have this phrase, I know you guys know if you follow me online, bring the joy. Like, don't wait for happiness to land on you one day. Bring the joy. Don't wait for abundance to suddenly arrive. Live abundantly. And when we can start switching our mindset a little bit, maybe I can explain what this industry is. Maybe I can explain what has worked for me. Maybe I can explain what Dean and everyone else have been sharing with you, maybe in a different way. I've been blessed to be teaching thought leaders and experts and creators full-time since 2007. And my big breakthrough came almost 10 years before that. And so for those who don't know my story, I don't have a big fancy degree that got me into this industry or into, abundance in my life. What happened was I was a 19-year-old kid who got his heart broken. The first woman I ever loved, my high school sweetheart, we went to college together. And in college, she discovered beer and other boys and strayed from our relationship. And it broke my heart because my whole life, my whole identity was tied up into that relationship at the time. So when that relationship fell apart, I fell apart and I became incredibly miserable. Couldn't go to class, couldn't get out of bed, didn't eat. I mean, I lost a huge sense of who I was and I fell into a dark depression. Unrelated, a little bit after that, I was in a car accident. And before that accident, to tell the truth, I'd been thinking about taking my life. I was so destroyed by that relationship ending, I wanted to destroy my own life. And then the accident happened, unrelated, but it scared me to death and it smacked some sense in my head and said, kid, you don't want to die. You don't want to die. You want to live. Yes, your heart is broken and you've shut off the rest of the world. It's time to turn that back on. You want to love. Yeah, you've been wandering around aimlessly and sad and depressed, but you still want to make a difference. You want to matter. You want to do something with yourself. And those simple lessons I learned from the car accident, that I wanted to live and I still wanted to love and I still wanted to matter, became my mantra: live, love, and matter. The trick for me was I didn't know how. I was miserable. So I went way deep and my interest became psychology, philosophy, personal development, self-improvement. And I don't know about y'all, but I just bought all the books, listened to all the audio tapes. I dorked out all the way in the industry at the time of self-improvement. And I went way in. I just loved it. I loved it. And along the way, I started improving. I started feeling better. I learned to get out of my shell. I learned to talk with people and trust people again. I learned about trying to lead and help people, and my life improved. And my friends would be like, hey, what are you doing? You seem happier. I'm like, I'm reading these personal development books. I like them. but I still didn't know what to do with myself or my career. Anyone else out there, you had no idea what your career was, but you kind of bumbled into one, or maybe you're in that transition phase right now. I know that if you're watching this, I love how Dean is saying there's like these 3 different groups. I think one thing that unites all of us right now is we are in a moment of transition. Globally, we're in a moment of transition. Some of you are in a moment of transition because, the kids left, or you're changing a job, or you're looking for this new opportunity. But globally, we're in this new moment of transition. And what's beautiful in moments of transitions is we get to make new decisions for ourselves. And I was making decisions for myself, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I took a corporate job. It was a great job. Right out of college, got a great job, moved from small town Montana to big city San Francisco, California, which was like hugely, it was so big of a city, so expensive. I couldn't believe it. I got a job consulting, basically, building like PowerPoint presentations and frameworks to teach executive stuff. I was so young and so dumb, you wouldn't believe it. I had no idea what I was doing. But, I kept thinking about that car accident I'd had and how my life had been changing. And every time I told the big, long story of the car accident, which I'll spare you today, but those insights that I'd learned about living and loving and mattering, and how every night I go to bed and I ask, did I live today? Did I love today? Did I matter today? Because my car accident taught me that if you don't know the questions you're going to ask yourself at the end of your life, how you're going to evaluate yourself, how could you live purposefully each day? And I learned in my car accident that at the end of my life, I'll probably ask, did I live? Did I live well? Did I love? Did I love openly? Did I matter? Did I make a difference? So every night I asked, did I do that today? So I started living more intentionally. And I tell my friends that, they're like, that's inspiring. You should tell me more about that. And then we'd have conversations about their life. And I found out like I was kind of like coaching them a little bit or giving them advice. And I liked doing that. And I was always reading these personal development books. I thought, maybe I'll write a book one day. I don't know how to write, but maybe I'll write a book one day. But you know what? 7 years marched on of that corporate job. It was good. But in the back of my head, that transition mindset was building. It's time to do something that is more true to me. It's time to do something that is an expression of something that's inside that maybe people don't know, but it's a transition moment. You're in a transition moment. That's why you're here, I promise. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to make the leap. And I decided to leave my safe corporate job to become a full-time writer, to write my first book. And I did what most writers do. I promptly went broke. I was like, I had no idea. I was just trying to spend all this money on all these things. I had no idea what was happening. And I had no guidance, no direction, no courses. I didn't know what to do. The industry really did not exist other than, hey, go get an agent and hopefully get published. There was the online marketing industry was barely emerging. The modern digital economy was still 4 or 5 years away. It was really like early, but I decided to write that book. The challenge is I went broke. I ran out of money. I couldn't get an agent. I couldn't find a publisher. And so it got worse and worse and worse. And I kept trying to write and fool myself. And I was going through a little imposter syndrome. Well, who am I to write? I'd read Hemingway. Like, come on, what are you going to do after that? So one day at night, I keep trying to write. I'm living now in my girlfriend's apartment. I couldn't afford my apartment in San Francisco anymore. I couldn't afford in San Francisco, California, it's like $9, right? So I just couldn't do anything. It was bad. My then girlfriend was buying my groceries. I had to move in with her, give up my apartment. I had set up in her bedroom because the apartments in San Francisco are tiny. If you're struggling, tiny. And I had this little table like this big that was my mom's fold-out sewing room table from home. And I set it up. I put my laptop on it. And it was a borrowed laptop I had to return. And I was writing. Just every day or every night I was trying to write. It wasn't particularly, honestly, effective. I was struggling to be productive. And then one night I was kind of finding a little bit of a groove. And I was writing, and Denise, my then girlfriend, she came in and she walked by my little desk, and she was trying not to disturb me because I was like this. I don't know about y'all, but when you get creative, it's like the rest of the world doesn't exist and you're like in this flow, in this zone, and something true and beautiful for you, and you're just guided. And I just was like tapping along, even though it sucked, but I was in a flow. And At the same time, I was literally in that flow. I was at that moment in my life going into bankruptcy. And the apartment was so small that basically I had that little table, but also the bed next to me. And I would set every day all my stuff on the bed, my vision boards, my research papers, other books, all of my bills and invoices and credit card statements. And it was just like the bed during the day was like my extended desk. So I had this little desk to write on. Well, Denise comes in to go to bed and she goes to not disturb my papers. So she goes to crawl under the covers and get settled in bed. And I stopped typing at some point and I kind of looked over and I saw Denise, love of my life, sleeping under the weight of my bills. Literally, she was sleeping under the bills. She was trying not to disturb them. And I don't know what it was about that image, but it just went, and it just, man, I don't know if you've ever been in that place, but none of us want to be the cause of pain or lack in our families' lives. And she was working so hard every day, buying my groceries, paying the rent, and here she is sleeping on my bills. And it just snapped something inside of me. I'm like, I've had this idea I'm going to be a writer. No, I'm going to write, this book's getting done. I know there's this online marketing thing and I need to learn how to make a web page and, take some payment on the internet and do a video or write some sales copy. But I hadn't done it because I thought, well, I don't know how. And sometimes we go, well, I don't know how, so we don't begin. Not realizing you don't get competence without beginning. Not realizing the only reason you haven't started is not because the technical part about it. That's the story we tell ourselves. The truth is, we're fearful. And when we say, oh, I'm not afraid, but I go, oh, okay, maybe fear doesn't resonate with you. But I can tell you your human behavior. That's what I spent my last 25 years of my life studying deeply. And that is, most of the time we don't start something is because we're embarrassed to be seen starting small. We're embarrassed. Our friends will see us start as a new coach or as a writer. We're embarrassed that people at work will see that we started this thing on the side, discover our side passion or side hustle. We're embarrassed that we'll put a website up and no one will come. We're embarrassed we'll post our first video. It will suck. No one will like it. And we've all been through that because it's not technical. You can figure it out. It's awkward. It's always going to be awkward the first time you do something. I mean, have you ever shot your first video? Anyone ever put a video up on the internet somewhere or put it on your phone or your TikTok or your Instagram? And you're trying to talk about something you're passionate about, and you talk to the phone, you talk to the camera, and you struggle to introduce yourself. You're like, you didn't even sound like yourself. You're like, hi, I'm Brendon Burchard. And you're like, that sounds weird. No, hi, I'm Brendon Burchard. Hi, and hi. And you tried 20 different ways to introduce yourself. You're like, why do I sound so weird? What is happening with me? That's part of the journey. That happens to everybody. Don't be so weirded out by that. But what I learned in that moment when I saw my lady sleeping under my bills was I was not going to allow that to happen anymore. I was going to learn what must be learned to build abundance in my life. I was going to learn what must be learned to get to do my art every day with abundance, to share what I want to share with the world, unfettered and not scared. That's what I decided. It was a simple, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try. The next day I went down the street. I bought one of those flip video cameras. Some of you might remember what those little square boxes with flip video cameras. I duct taped it around the moving boxes from when I had moved in. I turned that thing on and I spent all day with these IKEA lights bent over in my face trying to light myself. I got a sunburn from it. And I did my first opt-in video and sales video. That was 400 million views ago. That was 0 people opting in to watch my videos to 4 million. That was broke to 18 months later, I'd made $4 million in a year. What was the difference? Was I magic? Was I amazing? No, I absolutely believe in luck. I absolutely believe in blessings and gratitude, but I also believe at some point you decide to develop a skill and you decide to go in on learning how to make more abundance for your family. And once that's real for you, now your insecurities are out of the way. because my insecurities didn't matter. My passion, love for the woman who eventually became my wife, sleeping under my bills. I was going to learn how to provide a life for us. I know that doesn't resonate with everyone. Maybe sometimes that's old fashioned, but for me, it was a choice of going from, wanting to do something to being into it and trying and learning the skills, because the skills you can learn. You just need a course. You need the training. You need the coaching. You need what we all have to learn to do the industry. But let me share with you the big obstacles in people's way. 3 simple things, idea. 3 simple things will get in your way. 1, being blind to the opportunity. I started in this industry and I coined it the expert industry in 2007, when it was still the motivational speaking world, when it was like online marketing world, or when it was like direct response world, or what was it? But I noticed no one called it an industry. And I thought, wait, if everybody worldwide can do it and they make money from it, that's an industry. But now think about that. That was 2007. That's 14 years ago. And people are still like, oh, this is a thing. Don't miss out. What's the most valuable companies today, as an example, on the NASDAQ? They're all companies supporting the creator economy. LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, Snap, Clubhouse, Substack, Kajabi. All these tools support you sharing something. And you don't have to be the worldwide expert in it. I became that in my craft for high performance coaching. But you don't have to begin, you have to share something that you love consistently, right? And think about this. You can either be the expert, you got the results, you've done it. You can be part of the journey, you've experienced it, now you're sharing what you're learning in motion, or you can also be the curator. The curator just shares the stuff that they like and they monetize that. Either one of those can be the model, but don't miss the new world. The entire economy now is structured on content, isn't it? Think about that. The modern digital economy that we live on now is structured on content. What happens when they figured out cryptocurrency? What was the first dang thing that was really super applicable outside of the speculation? Well, let's put art on this thing. Let's put content on this thing. Let's create these NFTs. Even the new world in the new economy is still built on what you provide in terms of content. So don't miss out that you've got to create and share and curate and be part of this, because it is the new economy. And I've been saying that since 2007. Second big thing that sometimes causes us to get in our own way is destination thinking versus journey thinking. The destination thing, well, you think, well, I'm not an expert yet, so I won't begin. Oh, well, you'll be perceived as the expert as you start learning it and sharing it. I didn't be like, I'm the world's best high performance coach, follow me. I was, hey guys, I love psychology. I love sociology. I love teams and leadership. Here's what I'm learning. And all I was doing, I was sharing the research and putting little frameworks to it. I'd share what I was learning, give people steps 1 through 5 to go out and try stuff. And that was all I was doing. That was the entire crux of my career. Was that. Here's what I'm learning. Here's what 5 things you can go do right now to explore or try. I just did that over and over and over and over again. And I didn't do everything. To this day, I don't have Pinterest or TikTok or Snapchat. You don't have to be on every dang platform doing every dang thing. For me, I wanted to shoot videos, write. So I wrote a blog, wrote a book. I shoot videos for YouTube. I eventually took the audio from the YouTube and put it in a podcast. All of that, I drive people to email. They sign up on email, we deliver tons of value, and then I offer them a course. Tens of millions of dollars a year, that's all I do. It didn't begin that way. It began like, I got a video, guys, go like it. Go watch it. And 5 people will watch it. Me refreshing it twice and my mom refreshing it twice. You know what I'm saying? You know, some of you know exactly what I'm saying. Some of you don't know yet, but I can't wait to see yours. But don't think you have to be there. You get there by sharing what you're learning. And over time, you've shared so much about what you're learning, you can't help but by observing and learning to build that credibility and that expertise. Because the more you learn, listen, experts are always students first. The more you learn, the more that you have to share, and the more you're able to help when people ask you questions. Like, oh, when people, listen, I want you to hear this. Like 60% of the time people ask me a question, I'm like, oh, have you read this book? I just give a recommendation of something I've learned along the way. I don't have to be super smart. You can learn the skills later. Don't get stuck in destination. You have to be the expert. Share your journey, share your story, share that development, what you're learning. That's a big part of it. Another big piece about it, I think that gets in people's way is they feel like, and I really want you to tune in with me right now, because this is where either good things are going to happen from you moving forward in this industry from where you're at right now or not, based on if you can resonate with me, if you can see, yeah, I'm kind of in a moment of transition in my life. Or I'm transitioning to this topic, or I'm transitioning to this platform, I'm transitioning to this marketing thing, I'm transitioning to this business model, whatever. If you're in a moment of transition, here's where people get in trouble. When there's change in our lives, humans like certainty. And what we like to do is go, oh, what's my purpose? Right? Start with why. Oh, what is my purpose? What is my end goal? What's my legacy? What's that thing I'm going to do and be so proud of when I'm 80 years old on the rocking chair? You guys all know this, right? The issue is in moments of transition, that's really discouraging. Because in moments of transition, you have to try and taste and see things. I always tell people, you don't have to figure out your life's purpose right now. You got to figure out your next bold move. You don't have to figure out your life's purpose right now. You got to figure out the next bold move. And a series of bold moves stacked upon one another sets upon a destination in which gates will open up for you that serendipity and God had in mind that you never even could have purposed. I could have never even purposed in my mind this moment with all of you. I could have never imagined this abundance living on this beach out here. I know you can't see it, but it's a little blown out. But it's like I live on the beach. I have the opportunities and abundance in my life that I could not imagine as a kid looking at my girlfriend at the time under the weight of my bills. Because you know what? The world, I believe the Creator, opens up gates, but only when you roll up to them. Purpose reveals itself in motion, not in stagnation. You don't have to figure out your whole life's purpose. You got to figure out your next bold move. What's that next thing you can start, do, learn, post, express? And what are bold moves? Some of you guys know, think about this. I could never imagine the dumb kid from Montana. I literally created a course with Oprah Winfrey Network called Your Next Bold Move. Like all of a sudden I'm working with Oprah and team to create an online course. So what is a bold move? What does that mean? Well, a bold move tends to mean two very simple things. One, you choose to do something that is more authentic and true to your soul, your spirit, your interests, your passions, your obsessions. It's something that is more true to the explorative or the artistic or the adventurous side of you that you have been suppressing because you thought you had to do it right. You thought you had to fit in. Now, baby, you make a bold move, go, you know what? I like this job. That was my story. I like this job, but I want to write. I don't know how to write, don't know how to make money, but I'm going to make a bold move in that direction. I didn't think I had to figure it all out. I need a list of the next 40 books of my life so that I know at the end of 80 years old, here's my list of library books that I wrote. No, it's like, I want to move in the direction of being a writer. Let me figure out that. That was my key. So the bold moves are usually a move towards greater authenticity for your own expression and sense of aliveness and being, your passions, your interests, your obsessions, whatever you want to call it. And the second element to that, the real next bold move, is always when you match that first one with service. I hope I'm remembered for anything in this industry, really helping teach a lot of people, and I learned a lot from so many people. I'm a result of the industry itself. I'm a result of the personal development and the psychology and the online marketing industries. That's kind of what inspired me. I'm a result of all those teachers and trainers. In psychology, I'm here because of the Anders Ericssons and Ericssons and the Roy Baummeisters and the Angela Duckworths of the world, these people who I learned from in psychology, Carl Rogers, the humanistic psychologists like Abraham Maslow. In personal development, oh my goodness, Napoleon Hill, Dale Carnegie, Earl Nightingale, the Jim Rohns, the Wayne Dyers, the Louise Hayes, the Tony Robbins, the Deepoks, the Oprahs. Oh my gosh, no way. I couldn't be here with that online marketing. Oh my God, if it wasn't for Jeff Walker or early Frank Kern or Ryan Dices and all these people I got to learn from very early on, even including Dean on marketing, I wouldn't be here. I stand on their shoulders just like you do. The difference is at some point in the industry, you go from, oh, this is about me to share and do marketing to how do I be of service to more people? Not because I need the ego of more likes, but because you take that joy in sharing and helping others, which is what I began this talk with for you today. That it comes back to service. I tried to bring in the online marketing world, this digital marketing world, and the social media world, the concepts of good old-fashioned servant leadership. Just good. I love that stuff. Just, be a good role model for people. Demonstrate empathy and compassion and caring for them. Listen to them. Provide them with some value. And you know what? That's called, today, branding. Back when I was live, we just called it servant leadership. That's when I was coming up. And I just feel like that's your next bold move. Where does authenticity and service match? And how can you go in on each one of them? How do you go in on more truthful expressions of yourself? How do you go in more truthful expressions of good service to others? Because you know what? Your ultimate service or legacy or purpose will always be, it will be some form of the energy that you imbued with others. It's your energy. It's how you're showing up as a role model, as an influencer, as a caregiver, as a mom, as a great leader, as a good entrepreneur, as someone who, with all my friends, I always have one request from them. It's the only request I ever have. All my friends, some of the most followed people in the world, they say, Brendon, what can I do for you? Go. Double down on your goodness. Whatever it is that you do good in the world, double down because the world needs it. You have an opportunity with this challenge and with where you are in your life in this moment of transition to make decisions for your next bold move, to discover new things about yourself and share new things that you are passionate about. You literally have that moment right now. And you have it at a time when the entire world has moved towards supporting us, the creator economy, the self-education economy, the knowledge economy, the expert industry, the knowledge industry, whatever you want to call it. The whole architecture of the modern digital economy has been built up by billion-dollar companies to do one thing: allow you to share that voice and make that difference. That's why I'm excited to be alive. That's the modern economy. Skate towards that puck, as Dean would say, as Wayne Gretzky would say. Like, move towards that. That's where we're all going. So get into the game. Don't be embarrassed to be seen starting small. Be proud of that. Because you know what? When you start small, you get that journey later going, hey, look how far I came. Let me help you. Because I know there's some people on the miles behind me who might need a hand up. And that is your service. You get to take joy in sharing your passions and interests and helping people. And you get to get paid for it. This is my career. Every day I wake up, I hope I live a little bit and love a bit and make a bit of a difference. And getting to do that with all of you at this stage, at this moment, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I hope you enjoyed this talk. I hope you'll skate to where the puck is going. I hope you'll keep learning and believing in yourself. And I hope you will make your next bold move. Thanks, everybody.
Give it up for Brendon Burchard.
Thanks for having me, Dean.
Thanks, brother. Give it up in the chat. He can see it. Wow. Brendon, man, thank you so much I'm so honored that you took the time today. And dude, We're blessed to, just so everyone knows what I shared earlier, I might have to share a lot of that as I go because so many of my dear friends are here. But Brendon is someone we've spent so much time together, shared so many personal things, have inspired each other. And the man you just met is exactly who he is. If it's the first time you're meeting Brendon, you got to just see a real slice of who he is. When no one's watching, when the cameras aren't on, when it's just Brendon, that's the man he is. And he is all about service. That's why his business has grown. It's why he's impacted so many lives. You read his credentials, multiple New York Times bestselling author, hundreds of millions of views. It really came down to his story and his desire to serve. And I took some notes that I just want to share a little bit. And then we got one more amazing guest. But I want to share when he said he took a leap, right? He talked about wanting to serve, wanted to go from a job that wasn't serving him, right? That he was in corporate America. It was a dream at one point, but then the dream was gone. Anybody ever feel that? Like it was the dream to get out of college and the dream to get the job. And then you got all of it and you sat there one day and said, what the hell is this? This is not what I thought it was going to be, right? Well, he felt that and took that leap of faith, right? But then what I wrote down is, I think he might have got into that, as Tony said yesterday, and I'll say it my way. Tony said the tyranny of how, but he was in that, how do I do this? How do I write more? How do I make this happen? How do I take care of my girlfriend? And how do I do better things? And then one day, right? One day we all have that moment. For him, and that story, I watch him get emotional every time he shares it when he looked over and saw Denise, his amazing wife. And we love Denise. She's one of our favorite people. Looked over and saw her under the weight of his bills. It was that moment, right? It was that moment that he said, it wasn't about the how anymore. And I think that leads into what we talked about yesterday. It wasn't how, oh my God, my wife's under those bills. How do I write faster? In that moment, he decided why he was going to do it. And that the outcome, that there was no choice. He was going to burn the boats, do whatever it takes. And when you go from how to, this is my heart, I am doing it, the how shows up. The how shows up, like he said before, when you decide, when you gain capabilities, when you get the course, when you get in the workshop, when you get in the mastermind, when you take the uncomfortable action, when you move forward, when you spend 2-3 hours a day in a training to gain it, and then say, I'm putting it in place. Because listen, you might be in a spot where Brendon was at. Maybe you were in a spot like that. But do we have to have that moment to decide, right? If you are here, that means you're ready. And I love when he says your next bold move. I'm betting you're ready for your next bold move. Brendon's still watching. Let him know in the chats. He can see all 3 chats, no matter if you're in Facebook, YouTube, or on Zoom. Who's ready for their next bold move? You are here not because you have nothing to do today. You're here not because life is absolutely perfect and you just have, it's better than Netflix. You're here not watching Netflix, not doing something else. You're here gaining capabilities because you know you were designed for more. And at the end of our lives, don't we all want to serve? I mean, let's just be honest. I think there's probably some bad people on this earth, but I think at the end of the day, we all want to get our oxygen mask on so we can make an impact on the world. So as Brendon says, we could deliver more good. We could step it up, share more goodness, share more joy. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to make this all fuzzy and like, but we really are. I mean, Brendon and I talked 3 days ago, before my son's game. I had an hour practice. I called Brendon. We spent the whole hour on the phone. And literally like 2 little kids, him and I have different relationships with different friends. His and I are like, we're 2 little kids when we're on the phone. And he's like, brother, do you believe we get to do this? Every day we get to inspire people, change people's lives. We learn stuff and we share it and people thank us. Do you believe we get to do this? And I'm like, no, I can't believe it. Do you know we're going to try for 1 million people? He's like, oh my God, 1 million, yay. Like literally, I'm not shitting you for lack of a better word. It's how we have a conversation. Like I'll say, I'm going to try for 1 million. He's like, no, yep, oh my. And he'll like, this is how we talk. But listen, when he started, nothing. His mom saw his video. When I started, we all started someplace. And I love that saying, when's the best time to plant a tree? 5 years ago. When's the second best time to plant a tree? Put it in the chat. Right now. When was the best time to probably jump in the knowledge industry? A couple of years ago. When's the second best time? Right now. You know when the worst time is? 5 years from now. This is the moment. Look at everybody saying now. This is what I want you to feel. I want you to feel disturbed with inaction. I don't want you to look back in 4 years and go, damn, I spent those 5 days with Tony, Dean, Brendon, Chalene, Jenna, all these amazing people. I got excited and I let life suck me back in. Look where the damn knowledge industry is now. It's $1 billion a day, right? It's like we've all had those investments somebody told us to do. You were gonna, you didn't, and the investment exploded. You're like, that's the groundswell of this industry. And as I said on day one, your life experience is your asset. Your knowledge is your inventory. And you don't have to pay for it. You already paid for it through your life experience. You don't have to house it. You don't have to cool it. You don't have to feed it. This knowledge is value. We just have to learn to share it. And that's what we're going through. And every single speaker, every single person here started someplace that they never would have thought in a million years they were here. And that leads me on to our next and last speaker for the day. You guys, wait, do you have enough energy for our next speaker? I mean, I could tell him to go if there's not enough energy. Are you guys ready? Remember what I said? Every speaker came. None of them are getting paid. They all paid for their own dime to be here. They're here to serve you. So these chats, if we were in person, that's one thing, but light up all the chats. Now, this next speaker I met probably about a decade, maybe a little less, maybe 7, 8, 9 years ago. First day I met him, first day I got to see his heart. We ended up hitting it off. We spent more time together. We talked. We became dear friends. And I remember knowing him for less than a month and hearing his heart and watching his videos. I remember saying to him, I called him one day, I said, hey man, if there's anything I can do, because the world needs more of you. Like he had already been just absolutely destroying it with his videos, but the world needed more of him. And anything I could do to help him. And he's done the same for me. I helped him get a book deal. I helped him get way more for his book deal because he deserved it. And I helped him with connections. He's helped me in so many ways. We became a really amazing friends. It's not friends that we see each other every day because we're in different states, but someone that means the world to me. Now, I could read his bio, which is amazing. He's an ex-NFL football player. He's impacted people's lives all around the world. He's one of the most watched people online, you ready for this? In the world. In the world. 12 million people follow him on social media. He does a video, and I'm sure you've seen some of them, and it'll get 100 million views. It is absolutely insane. But when you hear where he started, and you hear how he felt when he started, you're going to realize he went through the same journeys all of us did, and feeling like an imposter, not sure it could work, and people saying, are you crazy? You're going to do that now? You're a football player? Ooh, you're going to be someone online? But isn't that the stories that inspire us? And I know for a fact what you're about to get is way more of a treat. You might be inspired, but you'll get tactics, you'll get strategies, you'll get served in the highest level possible. So if we could please put our hands together and give some love for my dear friend, Trent Shelton!
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Love you, brother.
Love you too, man. What's up, y'all? Make some noise. Let me hear y'all. Get out your seats. Let me hear y'all. What up, Chad? I see you. What up, Michelle? I see you. Kimberly, I see you. What's up? Carrie, I'm looking at you right now. What's up, Carrie? How you doing? Awesome. I appreciate y'all. Chat's lighting up. I appreciate you, Vanessa. Lisa. What up, Michelle? How you doing? All right, y'all can sit down. I appreciate y'all. Man, first of all, man, shout out to Dean and Tony for doing this. Super incredible. And I mean, all the speakers that they have is just truly amazing. And I want to honor you. I mean, taking ownership over your life. Like a lot of people talk about it. A lot of people type about it, post about it. But there's you that actually showed up. I always say there's 3 types of people, right? There's the watcher, the person who just watches everybody lives their dreams, that sits on the sidelines, that criticizes people, hates on people. Raise your hand if you know those type of people, right? Then there's the wisher, person that wishes to be better, has dreams, has all the good intentions in the world, but never acts on their ambition, on that fire in their soul, and they leave this world with incompletion. But then there's you, Nina, Serena, Stephanie, Angela, Daniela, all of y'all. There's you, the worker, the person that shows up, the person that puts in the work, the person that grinds from the bottom and hits their rock bottom and still goes on, the person that's in the car wiping tears off their face and then still accomplishing the mission. So I want to honor all the workers in here, because I'm telling you right now, you might not feel it now, you might not see it now, but it's going to pay off in your life. And there's people, I'm already about to go in. So there's people that are dependent on you to keep working. And I'm not just talking about your family. I'm not just talking about the proximity of your environment. There's people across the world that need your story. There's people across the world that need your talent, need your gift. And I'm not saying this to sound motivational, because motivation is crap, to be honest with you. I'm being straight up with you. I'm saying this to impact your soul and to get you to wake up. Because you're doing people a disservice. This isn't to everybody, so don't get in your feelings. But if it hits you in the heart, accept it. The truth sometimes hurts, but I promise you, the truth always helps. But it's your duty to listen to that voice in your heart and give that greatness to the world. There's a you inside of you. Think about this for a second. There's a you inside of you that you haven't even met yet. And that you is the greatest you. I'm still on a progressive journey to meet the greatest me. I haven't met that person yet. But every single day, I try to walk in the presence of the greatest Trent. Because I know every single day, Nicole, Melissa, Angela, Amy, every single day you're planting seeds. You're planting seeds of either greatness, seeds of progression, or seeds of limitations. And to be straight up and real with you, those seeds will take harvest at some point. So my question to you right now is, what seeds are you planting? And it's not going to happen overnight. I know Dean just talked about 12 million followers, all these video views, and that's cool and great. And I appreciate that. But I started at rock bottom. I don't know if any of y'all can relate to this. Maybe it's just me, but I know what hard times and struggles are. If you follow me, you know I'm going through one of the hardest seasons in my life right now. But I'm still showing up because the mission is that important to me. Write this down. When the mission is strong enough, the struggle will never be great enough. When the mission is strong enough, the fear will never be great enough. If fear is controlling your life, if limitations are controlling your life, I'm going to tell you right now, your mission isn't great enough. And some of our missions are just for us. We got selfish missions. To be more popular, to have a blue check by our name, to make all this money. Those things are good. But when those things are gone, when you don't have those things, are you still going to show up? If everything was stripped away from you, all the titles that this world tries to give you was stripped away from you, would you still show up and fight for what you believe in? And I'm not apologizing for being passionate, because I care about this, man. This started over a decade ago, and I'm not going to tell too much about my story. I know a lot of you know about it, but football was my everything. And for some of you, it might not have been sports. Maybe it was a relationship. Maybe it's a dream. Anybody have a dream that failed? Anybody in here? Well, I can see some hands. Y'all don't have dreams that fail. Y'all are incredible. We've all had dreams and things that have failed in our life. And mine was to be a professional football player since I was 4 years old. I wrapped my identity around that. Without football, who am I? For the sake of time, I make it to the NFL as an undrafted free agent. And just imagine your biggest dream coming true at the same time your worst nightmare happening. I ended up getting cut 9 or 10 times. And some of y'all might be wondering what cut is. A better word is fired. From 3 teams. How does that work, Trent? 9 times, 3 teams, it doesn't add up. Each team cut me 3 times. So I lived a very unbalanced life. I didn't know if I would be cut right after practice. I didn't know if I would be there the next Monday. And I had a family to take care of. And I was losing myself to the point where I didn't even care about living anymore, because without my everything, I felt like nothing. I want to tell you right now, sometimes it takes losing your everything just to show you that it was nothing that you ever needed in the first place. Sometimes it takes losing everything that you think you need just to show you that there's something better for your life. Your greatest setbacks will set you up for that major comeback. Sometimes you have to lose certain things to gain better things. Do you realize that? Sometimes the best way to add to your life is to subtract from it. But at that time, I didn't understand it. I was angry at God. I was angry at my mom and dad for not making me fast enough, for giving me some bad DNA, even though they gave me great DNA. I was mad at my friends. I became bitter. I had bitterness in my soul. I resented people. My teammates like Peyton Manning. Oh, Peyton ain't that good. Because I was that hater at that point in my life, even though Peyton is legendary. But it came to a point in 2009. I'll never forget this moment. I was sitting in my room at my parents' house. I was still living with them when I would come back from the off season. And I remember looking at my room, and I remember seeing the pictures of my son. Tristan was just a year old at that time. And I remember talking to God and asking God, is this it? Is this it? Is this the end of my life? Is this my finish line? Is my future not going to have anything better for my life? Is my best days in my past? Is this it? And I remember this tiny voice that pierced my soul and said, this is just the beginning. I got more in store for you than you ever could imagine. And so over those next few years, the next moments, I grab a cell phone. I didn't have some great studio. I didn't look like the typical motivational speaker. I still don't. I didn't go to Toastmasters, not saying you can't go to classes. I didn't have any formal training. I'm an introvert. I'm probably the quietest person in the room if you're ever around me. Speaking was my biggest fear. But there was something inside of me that said, there's more to your life. Anybody feel that? Anybody have that feeling in their life that there's more to your life, that feeling? And a lot of us, what we do is that feeling that's calling us, that's saying there's more to your life, there's something better for your life. You know what we do? We send it to voicemail. Because we talk ourselves out of our greatness. We tell ourselves that we're not experienced enough. And we send that to voicemail. We see all the comparison on social media, people showing you the filter life. And we say, oh, I can never be that person. So we send it to voicemail and you talk yourself out of your greatness. Write this down right now. You have to defeat the enemy. And the enemy is not an external enemy. It's not the people online who don't like you. It's not the people that are judging you. It's not your past. It's not your circumstances. The enemy is an internal voice in you that's telling you that you're not good enough. The enemy is that fear. The enemy is that past failure in your life. And how you defeat the enemy is that you stand up to it. Even when your back's against the wall, you still stand tall. Even when you don't even have it figured out, you take what you know and you move forward with your life. The greatest war you ever will face is right here. That's the greatest battle. And you will never win your war by running from your battles. So some of us on this live, maybe not all of you, but I'm speaking to a few of you right now. Some of you have been running for far too long and you're wondering why your life is tired. You've been running from that thing that you were supposed to start. You've been running from that idea that's piercing your heart. You've been running from that gift. And I'm going to tell you something. The gifts that we don't use don't die. They find life in someone else. The opportunities that are knocking on our door that we say we're not ready for, they don't die. They find life in someone else. Somebody has took advantage of your opportunity. How long, Daniela? How long, Michelle? How long are you going to keep pressing not ready and answer the call? So for me, I pick up my cell phone and I record a video, just speaking from my heart. And I remember I had 10 people watching it, 10. And I was excited. I'm like, 10 people watching me? Shh, I done made it. That's 10 people that I can touch and reach. My goal since day one, I want y'all to hear this. My goal wasn't to reach millions. My goal was to reach you. My goal wasn't to reach millions of people. My goal was to change the life of one. And that first one was the person I looked in the mirror every single day. Myself. Because if you don't believe it, if you don't live it, you're not going to have something called conviction and confidence. The reason I'm able to talk like this, because I live it. So if you're going to answer that call, drop a heart in the chat right now. I want to see this chat light up with hearts. If you're going to stop running, drop a heart in the chat. I see you, Vanessa. I see y'all. And so now people see all these videos. It took one moment. I'm going to progress because I don't want to tell too much about my story, but I want y'all to let y'all know that I didn't get millions of followers overnight. I didn't. I remember I had a speaking engagement. And remember, I'm an introvert. So my homeboy hits me up at a mega church in Dallas, Dr. Tony Evans. I don't know if y'all know Dr. Tony Evans. Incredible man of God. His son, Jonathan, reaches out to me and says, hey, Trent, come speak in my church. And I'm like, I'm never going to speak at your church ever. I have nothing to speak about. My life is too bad. I have too many insecurities. I was allowing the enemy to keep me from my greatness. And I was talking myself out of it. So he used a little tactic. And he kept asking me, am I scared? And of course, you know, I'm a football guy. I'm an athlete. No, I ain't scared. Even though I was shaking. And I said, I'll do it. It was a 5-minute speech in front of like 5,000 kids. It seemed like 20,000 kids. And if you ever spoke in front of kids before, they are the hardest audience to speak in front of. If you want to hone your gift as a speaker, go speak in front of kids. Okay, that's just a side note. And I get up there and I prepare the whole night before. Right? I know it like a rap verse. I love music. So I'm reciting it. I have it memorized. I had all these notes in my mind at that time. And I walk onto the stage. I look out. Just like I'm seeing all your beautiful faces, but the kids aren't giving me y'all the same energy y'all giving. They look at me like, what are you about to talk about? We ain't trying to hear this. I froze up. I forgot everything. Everything. And I want to add this piece into the story. I was still hanging on the football. I was actually supposed to report that Saturday. This event was on Friday. I said 2 words or 2 phrases in that moment of me freezing up. I said, God, use me. And I said, Trent, you can either sink or you can swim. And at that moment, I just spoke from my heart. Those kids after ran up to me and asked me all these questions. And in that moment was the moment that I let go of football forever. I called my coach and I told him I wasn't coming. You know what he did? He hung up on me and said, good luck. I called my friends. My friends didn't understand it. And this is what I want to tell y'all right now. I'm not trying to get into this whole friendship thing, but you got to understand this right now. All right, surround your life around people who inject faith into your life instead of fears into your heart. If your environment doesn't have people that are injecting confidence in you, that are doubting you, and everybody's not going to get it. Your support will oftentimes come from strangers, and it's okay. We often run to the ones that we love most, but this is just fact. Sometimes it's the people you love the most that will support you the least. And that can no longer be an excuse, because one of the biggest excuses, and I'm sorry I'm getting passionate, but I see so many people silence their greatness because I don't have support. Oh, they don't understand me. They don't get me. God gave you the vision. Why are you expecting other people to see it? Y'all feel that? Yeah. Why are y'all expecting other people to see it? It's in your heart. Most people won't see it until you actually accomplish it. So stop trying to get people to see your vision and stop using the excuse, Trent, I don't have support. Go support yourself, because when you walk down the path of the journey, I know it's about the journey. The journey might not be perfect. The path might not be perfect, but the purpose of the path is always perfect. I will tell you this, the journey will always reveal in your life the things that you need. Me and Dean, I can tell me and Dean's story. It was me walking on my path and going to certain things outside of my comfort zone that allowed me to run into a great man like Dean. It wasn't the people close to me that brought me there. So don't let the lack of support, write this down, their lack of support, whoever they is or are, their lack of support has nothing to do with your level of success. The person that has everything to do with it is you. So if you're crying about support, are you supporting yourself? If you're crying about people not believing in you, do you believe in you? Because, my friend, you set the tone for your life. Another thing I want to talk about real quick, because I got 4 minutes. So we talked about number 1, defeating the enemy, and a whole bunch of other stuff that's just me as a hard speaker. Number 2, I need everybody in here, Chris, Nick, everybody in here, I need you to magnify your mission. It has to become greater. It has to become greater. Your mission is your magnet. So not to get too much into my personal journey right now, my personal story, what I'm going through in my season, I'll probably cry, and I don't want to cry right now. But people have been asking me, Trent, how have you been able to still push through? How have you been able to still overcome? With losing your mother, with your daughter going to the ICU, with losing your grandmother all in a matter of weeks. How have you been able to do it? Has it been hard? Hell yeah, it's been hard. But that magnet is so strong with my mission that it's like a tugboat. That even when I want to give up and quit, it continues to row for me. Even when I want to give up and quit, it continues to be the engine that pulls me through the troubled water, that pulls me through the rising tide, and I'm able to keep progressing and keep going. You have to make your magnet stronger. That mission, is it strong enough to still pull you through your hardest times? Because the truth is, none of us are exempt from hard times. And oftentimes your commitment gets exposed when inconvenience shows up. Your commitment gets exposed when struggle shows up. If it was easy, everybody would do it. So really hone in on your mission. Is it just about you? Because if it's just about you, you will quit. But when it's about leaving legacy, we talk about planting seeds every day, right? When you leave that legacy and this generational change, think about this. Some of you have the gifts to change generations. You know what's so dope about my story that people don't talk about, that I love personally? That my great-great-great-great-great-grandkids, I'm assuming, unless technology changes, are going to be able to see their great-great-great-great-grandpa, Trent Shelton, inspire the world. They're going to be able to go see videos and go see my ideas. See what I stood for, see what I believe in. They're going to be able to see that. So if anything, leave a trail of legacy to change generations. The third thing I want to touch on before I wrap this up. Are y'all feeling this? Okay, cool. The third thing I want to touch on before I leave you guys is opportunity cost. There's a little quote that I love to say that really ignites action in my life, that really ignites action that overcomes procrastination, that really ignites passion. And this quote is this: never let the fear, right? The fear of staying the same should outweigh the fear of change, right? So a lot of us, we're so afraid to change, but staying the same should scare you even more. Staying the same, being the same person 5 years from now, 2 months from now, should scare you more. What is it costing you not to show up? Because some of us, we think it's just costing us, oh, I'm just not showing up today. That's it. No. Just imagine if I would have never showed up and walked into my fear, there wouldn't be millions of people across the world being impacted. What is it costing you not to be disciplined? What is it costing you not to stay committed? The definition of commitment is this, because I want to say this, because the mood that you have right now will leave next week when real life gets back to you. Commitment is this: staying loyal to what you said you were going to do. Not Dean, not Brendon, not Tony, not me, not your mama, not your daddy, to what you said you were going to do long after the mood you said has left you. That's commitment. So when you're doing videos and one person shows up, you still going to stay committed? When you sell your program and maybe, as Dean said, 32 people bought his program, right, when he was selling cars, you still going to show up and stay committed? Your commitment has to be rooted. Because I believe Dean said this, right? When the roots are deep enough, the tree, right, can't sway, or somebody said like that. Strengthen those roots. And I'll leave you with this message. You have the damn baton in your hands. I don't know if any of y'all ever ran track before, but track is a relay, 4x4. And I'll get a little bit personal. My mother just reached her finish line, right? She left, she's gone, she did her job. God called her home. And she ran her race. She ran her race as best as she could, and blessed my mother's heart, because my mother gave me and her 2 other boys, me and my brothers, the lead on life. She didn't give me the baton behind where I had to play catch up. And I know some of us are not as fortunate to have that, and I get it. But the point is, she gave me the baton, and now it's my time to run my race. You have the baton in your hands. My question to you is, how you gonna run your race? You gonna run your race in self-pity and blame and complain and point the finger at everybody and feel sorry for yourself, which I understand because I've been there. But that's not gonna help you run a race efficiently and run a race where you give somebody else the lead on life. It is time for you to get the most out of your life by running your race. Don't waste it, because somebody somewhere in the world didn't have the opportunity today with breath in their body to be able to run the race. You are not old or young based upon your birthday. You are old or young based upon your death date. And none of us know how much time we have left. So my friends, run your race well, and make sure when you cross the finish line, you cross that mall with pride. But like I said in every single message, it all starts with you. It's rehab time. Let's get it. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all.
Seriously, guys, what can you say? Trent Shelton, give it up for him. He'll be watching the chat in the back. Hey, let me just ask you right now, you glad you're here for the Own Your Future Challenge? Let me know. Put it in the chat right now. You glad you're here? Wow. Anybody else writing notes and quotes as fast as I was? It's almost hard to put into words the way that guy makes me feel every time, and the way Brendon made me feel, and the way Chalene makes you feel. But when you listen to his words, don't you just like how he just cuts to the chase and gives the power back to us? And I hope you see the common thread. Does anybody come here and say, you know what, life was perfect, and I went through school, and I decided I wanted to be in the experts industry, as Brendon helped coin, or I want to be in the knowledge industry? No, that's not the way it goes. It's like an interrupted pattern in your life, right? Do you feel that? And there's this moment where you say, I can share this. I have the asset. I have the inventory. I have the life experience. And there's someone at this very moment. I love what Trent always says that. One person needs you. You know what he said? I wasn't here to impact millions. I was here to impact you. I don't know if you felt that when he said it. I thought he was talking directly to me, right? I see you, Chris, right? Like, you felt that in your heart. There was things like, God gave you the vision. Why would you expect others to get it? Anybody else write that down? It's like we're expecting the people around us to get the vision that God put in our soul, in our hearts. How could other people get it? They can't see through your lens. There's somebody in your life right now that's not here with you. And you're going to gain capabilities. You're going to be fired up. And when you try to explain it to them, they're going to look at you like you got 6 heads. And they're going to like, oh my God, she drank the Kool-Aid. I can't wait for it to wear down. Why would you share it when you know that's going to happen? God gave this, or the universe, whatever you believe in, gave it to you. You're here. You're learning from Trent Shelton and Chalene Johnson and Brendon Burchard, and Tony Robbins, and Jenna Kutcher. You're learning. This is about unlocking your full potential, to not turn down your glow, to turn it up so bright that you attract the people in your life. Listen, I mean this. I have friends that I've known since high school. I have one left from 5th grade. He's still a dear friend. These are truly my best friends. I see Trent twice a year. We talk once a month. One of my dearest friends. I see Brendon 4 times a year, one of my dearest friends. Jenna's become a dear friend. Chalene is going to be on the list because we've spent some time, and now we just hit it off last night. These aren't people I need to know their birthdays or send them cards or see them every day, but they're people when I reach out or watch them. Sometimes I'll just go watch a Trent video. I'll be doing a run, not feel like working out. I'll just find Trent, watch it like I'm going 100 miles an hour. That's what dear friends do to each other. And if there's people in your life that, you know, bust your dreams, it doesn't mean they got to go, but it doesn't mean that they're in control of your life. At the end of our lives, do we want to look back and say, I was going to go for it? I was going to turn up my brightness, but, you know, no one believed in me. I won't even try to replicate what Trent said. He said it so elegantly. I love that. It wasn't put in their heart. I said, don't let the lack of support has nothing to do with you and your level of success. Magnify your mission. How about when he said magnify your mission? Damn, Carissa, did you feel that too? When he said, magnify your mission, I don't know about you guys. There was things he said and I was like, ooh, anybody have that like, oh, damn, that was for me. And my production crew, he said one thing and Mike went, whoa, he threw his hands up in the air. But why is he doing that? Because he truly cares. And he knows what it's like to feel when everything that he thought was his life was over. There was some more personal stuff, Trent. Maybe at another time he'll share it on what made that transition. And now he's the man he's supposed to be. He says it all the time. He's so thankful he's not in football. But he also said sometimes the things that we think are our dreams have to be destroyed or we have to break them, right? I heard someone say once to have a breakthrough, we have to break something. So we're thinking the thing that went wrong, the person that let us down, the business that didn't work, we're thinking that's the thing that's our anchor, when we reposition, it was actually the launching pad. Thank God that relationship didn't work, or that business didn't work, or that time in history didn't work, because you're set up for greatness in this moment with all those experiences to drive you forward. Not to just rehash what my brother Tony says, but what if life happens for us? Not just take it as a slogan. What if it really did happen for us? And all of those things led us to this moment where we have the opportunity to step up. We have the opportunity to be role models. We have the opportunity to serve, and we have a platform to do it. We have the education. We have the people willing to learn. People aren't going back to college. They're not trying to figure it out. They want to learn from you. And if you take heart, the last thing I'll say about Trent's heart, if you take that and say, I might not have 5,000 followers in 5 minutes, but one person today needs me, and I'm going to help that one person. When you look at it through that lens, it takes away, oh, what if I'm embarrassed? Like what Brendon said. I love when he said, maybe you're not starting because you're embarrassed. Your friends will go, oh, you're starting over, starting small. You used to be up here, now you're trying this new thing. We all got to start someplace, and sometimes that transition will kill us or stop us from moving forward. Is it really worth letting that one person down next week that needs what you have? Are you going to let embarrassment stop you from impacting, serving, and finding who you're meant to be? And maybe, Amir, I see you shaking your head, right? We just can't do that anymore. That's why we're so excited about these 5 days, because I hope you saw the dot today. You saw delivery systems today. You saw mess-to-message, your expertise, your skill, or being something you're passionate about, or being the reporter. You thought you could build a course, you could do a live, you could go do a mastermind, you could do a workshop, you could do a community, you could coach a couple people at once online. All of this, the pieces are there. When we narrow it down, we all have something to serve. But we also need to climb in here and see the proof, right? The 4-minute mile. Right? It's the greatest story. We've all heard it way too many times, right? Roger Bannister ran the 4-minute mile. Before that, they said it was physically impossible for the human body to run 4-minute mile. He runs the 4-minute mile. Never in the history of the time anybody had ever done it. He runs it. And what happens in the next year? 18 people run the 4-minute mile. How the heck does that happen? Did they all go on steroids? Right? Did we evolve? No. They just believed they could. And I hope today anchors in your belief that you can, that you were given this vision, you were given this desire for more. This is yours, not someone else's, and they don't need to believe in you. If you don't think everybody who is here today, including me, has been called the dreamer, crazy, it'll never work, you're too young, you're too old, you don't have the money, you don't have the education, they don't make statues of critics. They make statues of the crazy people. And I'm glad we're all crazy. So you guys ready to do this? Can I get some commitment? We're ready? Who's ready to show up and play full out tomorrow? You guys ready to show up and play full out tomorrow? Tomorrow, if you think yesterday and today was good, tomorrow, I'm thinking tomorrow is going to be your best day ever. I'm just saying. But you got to be here. Be here live. Show up. Play full out. We got amazing guests. I'm teaching something tomorrow. It is my favorite thing in the entire world to teach. It changed my life. Tomorrow, what I'm teaching literally is the secret to my success. I'm not joking. Tomorrow you will learn the secret to how I got here. And I can't wait to share. Kevin, I saw you say, bring it. I'm bringing it. I'm bringing it, man. There's no way to hold it back. So I'm going to bring KK out here in a minute. Don't go anywhere. She's giving away some cool prizes. But besides that, she's going to go over a little homework assignment tonight for you. This isn't for me. This is for you. Never leave the scene of this momentum without taking an action, without doing something. Yes, we're going to have a fun challenge tonight, but she's got a little homework. It's going to go less than 5 minutes. She'll go through this with you. I'm going to encourage you to do it while you're in this state. Like Trent said, in a week from now, you might not be in this state. Do the homework. You can come back to it and say, while I was there, I felt this, right? The last thing I'll share is I use these words a lot because I use them with my children. My daughter's 14, heading towards 15. I had to anchor this into her soul. I said, who are we going to be when no one's watching? I said that about Tony. I said it a couple times. That's the theme for my New Year's this year, for 2021, with my daughter and my son, my older kids. I said, this is the year of who you are when no one's watching, because I can't see who you are. I can't see what you do. You could sneak stuff, sneak drinking, sneak out. I probably wouldn't know, but you'll know. And what kind of character do you want? Would you like to be the person that you're the same? I could look at your phone. Anybody could do it. Like if no one knows that the microphone's on and they hear you talking and you're congruent to the person you are when the mic's on, or when dad's not listening and you're talking to your friends, how cool would it be to just be you, to not have to pretend, have to be two people? And I said, don't pretend you want to be great at pitching, but when no one's watching, you don't practice. You binge out on TikTok, right? And my daughter practices all the time pitching. My son practices all the time. That's why they're good, because they do the work when no one's watching. Next week, no one's going to be watching, but you'll have the opportunity to have capabilities in your hand where you can dig in your vision, your dream, gain it, go for it, do it. And as Frank Sinatra says, the best revenge, or the best way to show people what you're doing, is massive success, right? So let's get out and make it happen. You guys ready for that? You guys ready? Are you ready for tomorrow? All right, put it in your phone. Be here tomorrow on time, show up, ready to play. But right now, 10 quick minutes with Carissa, KK. Do the homework. Some good prizes are given away, and we'll see you tomorrow. Let's give it up for KK.
Okay, everybody, come on. I mean, day 2, how are you feeling out there? Show me with your body if you're in VIP. YouTube, I was watching your chats. You guys are going crazy. What a beautiful day, my friends. I told you this morning that day 2, maybe, perhaps, could be the best one yet. Was I right? Until you get to tomorrow, you just heard what Dean said. Tomorrow is where this all comes together. Tomorrow's a really, really important day. Let's recap. This is your daily wrap-up. I'll be here with you for just a little bit. But how many of you would like to go out today with the same level of energy that you started today with? By a show of hands, say yes. Who's feeling good, having more energy, having greater beliefs about themselves, seeing more opportunity in your life? I don't know. I think we call this owning your future. Does anyone feel like they're starting to own their future? I mean, I wasn't even trying to make a joke, but it's happening. This is the compound effect. When you show up for you every day, these things just happen inside of you. So I want to celebrate every single one of you for showing up, for playing all out. And let's celebrate our speakers. I want to share with you guys something that you don't normally get on the receiving end of these. You don't see what happens backstage. But every single speaker that spoke today, guess what? They're here. They all have their notebooks open, and they're doing this the same way that you guys are. And when Trent was up here just last, was that just beautiful? He walked out, and then everybody applauded and went crazy. And Dean was right. They're not getting paid to come here. They're here today because they've been where some of you are. And you have to press go. You have to press start. You have to see an opportunity and go for it. Even if there are some feelings you got to work through to get there. Are you all willing to coach yourself through some of those feelings to get to what that opportunity is available for you today? Yes? Come on, give me a show of hands. Say yes. Put it in the chat box. Put I'm ready. Put I'm next in that chat box, because this is your moment, my friends. Okay. Tomorrow is a really important day. It's the most important day. You're getting really, really tactical. Dean is teaching something. If you didn't see, he has his notebook. He's got some handwritten notes, and I was kind of looking at them. And tomorrow he is going to unveil something for you guys that is so tremendously important. So make sure that you are here on time. It's 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and you have 2 incredible speakers. Tomorrow you have Jamie Kern-Lima, founder of It Cosmetics. Ladies, any of you wear that? My face right now is sponsored by It Cosmetics, but she's going to walk you guys through really what it looks like to believe in yourself and the possibility that you have here. And then you also have Russell Brunson, one of the most intelligent marketing minds that currently exists on the planet. It's a very, very, very important day. Show up here on time. Give everything that you have. We talked about this a little bit on day 1. Dean did. He said, how can you thank all these great people that are coming? Do any of you want to thank these incredible speakers that are giving their time, their heart, their energy, their insights? Here's how you thank them. Show up, every single day and let the accumulation do its job. If you went through today and you learned about DOT and you heard Chalene be like, well, you could change your DOT. You could change it a million times. And you're still over here like, dang it, I'm having so much fun, but what the heck is my DOT? Can you just let the 5 days unfold as they're supposed to? Is there a rule that says you have to find your DOT today? Or could it be tomorrow? Could it be later tonight when you're in the shower? Could it be one thing that somebody says that gives you an insight and you a distinction that helps transform this process for you? Yes or yes? We call this trusting the process. If you're ready to trust the process, show up tomorrow and go all out for day 3 of this 5-day experience to own your future. I want you to put all out in the chat box. I think it was Jim. It's going so fast. Judy says, thank you for saying that. Honor yourself with where you're at. Okay, if somebody out in the chat room next to you found their DOT and already launched their whole thing, don't look at somebody else's journey for where you are. That's why you're here in 5 days. There's a reason we made it 5 and not 2, okay? Trust the process. We're here for you. This is a team, right? Are we in this together? Are we doing this thing? So let's talk about your homework, all right? I don't really like the word homework. I'm going to call it glow work. You guys have Glow Atanmo. She's a speaker here. Some of you joined just for her. We're going to call this glow work, okay? You got a little activity tonight to help what you did today sink in. Who did their homework last night? Just wave at me. If you did not, let me ask you a question. Does the past have to equal the future? Not unless you choose to live there. You can reclaim your future today, my friends, by doing your worksheet tonight. It's super easy. It's really fast, but it's very, very important. So you guys can go to oyfworkbook.com and oyfworkbook.com. If you guys would type that up and throw that in the chat box for me, that's where you can download this worksheet. And there are going to be 4 questions on it. I'm going to walk you through them verbally right now. So just eyes up here, just kind of watch and receive and listen. And we'll do this just verbally to show you what you're going to do tonight so you can see why it's so important. Okay, it's going to ask you 4 questions, and it's pretty much relating to the training that you did this morning with Dean, which was off the charts. I hope you guys have a ton of notes from that. All these things are stacking upon each other. So when he shares what he did yesterday or tomorrow, it's going to relate back to what he did today. Okay? Here are the 4 things. The first question you're going to answer is, and if you have some answers to this, throw them in the chat box right now so we can do this live. What is the limiting belief that most often stops you from unlocking what's in your head and selling what you know? Right? You know, Shalene's was like, I didn't study exercise science, and we all have these different things. I'm too young, I'm too old, or I have this, and we have these thoughts or these beliefs. So what are some for you? So fear of judgment, great. Looking stupid, I'm not ready yet. And then I just want to say, who would you be without that thought, right? If that thought didn't even exist, what would you be doing? But that's the first thing you'll answer, and really let your heart pour out. This is where you're supposed to be viciously honest with yourself. Has anyone here ever tried to make something sound better on paper so you just felt better about yourself? You're like, that limiting belief, it's really fear, but I'm going to call it like anxiety because I'm a leader and I don't get fear, right? Be real with yourself. Be viciously honest, okay? Second question, leaning into your new belief system, what is the one thing your family, friends, colleagues come to you for? And it's easy for you to do. You're kind of the expert in this. What's the one thing that they say, wow, I wish I could do that like you? What are some examples here? Throw them in the chat box. You're just going to start to percolate on this. By answering this question, does that mean you have to find the thing today? Or are these just questions? All right? Awesome. 3, knowing what you know, what could you sell based on your well above average skill level on this topic? Remember, this is a brainstorm. Is it possible you may come up with 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 40 things that you could sell? Is it possible you only come up with 1? If you come up with 1 and somebody else comes up with 40, are you better or worse than the other? Or are we all perfect with whatever we come up with? It's a brainstorm. These questions are getting you to go deeper. There's an accumulation here. Trust the what? Shout it out. I'm watching you. Good job. Cameron Adams crushing it over here. Room 2, my man. I'm watching. Yes. Okay. Trust the process. And then question number 4, knowing what you know now, who could you sell to? Remember, your ideal client is you a few years ago. All right? So you're going to go through those 4 questions. That's going to give you the baseline to do your challenge. Every day, we're only on day 2, you're going to have a challenge that you do. And if you didn't do it yesterday, does that mean that today's your day, my friends? Yes? If you've been hiding in this group, you're one of the people that watches from the sidelines, I am inviting you to join Hiders Anonymous, okay? I'll be leading that group. You tag me. You tag me and you say, KK, I did my video. I'm going to come in there and celebrate you, all right? You all deserve a little spot to shine. You're going to go live. You're going to open up your phone, go live, and you're going to share with us what do your friends come with you for? What's that thing that they come to you for? And if you have a few things, share them all. But remember, it's 3 minutes or less. This is super important. Don't be that person that goes for 25 minutes. You know who you are, all right? I'm telling you. 3 minutes or less. And if brownie points if you do it in 60 seconds. Get some conviction, get some energy in your body, throw your shoulders back, go on a run, and then go live and share it with us with some passion what that is for you. And then you're going to use the hashtag #OwningMyFuture2. Owning My Future 2. Please type that up and throw that in the chat box so that you guys are all aligned and everyone sees that. So you'll go live, post your video, hashtag #OwningMyFuture2. Now, I have something very important to say. I have kind of talked at the same tempo for a while, so I want to make sure this doesn't blend in. So really quick, everyone take both arms up so I can see you and I know that you're ready to hear the next thing I've got. And then do a little dance for me. Celebrate yourself. Come on, you guys are crushing it. A little bit of, yep. Cameron Adams again out of his chair. Okay, you dancing queens, get your hands down. Let's get back to business. We're asking you to go live. Is it possible it could be a little uncomfortable for some of you? You've never gone live before. You don't even know where the button is. Why would I go live? I'm never on video. I saw someone say I'm usually behind the camera. Guess what this is? It's an uncomfortable moment. And it gives you a chance to get over being uncomfortable, which maybe, I don't know, kind of sounds like joining an industry like this. Is there ever going to be a moment where you may have to get over being uncomfortable? And this is a really good time to practice. Would you agree with me? Within this team, within this community, we're doing this together. So this is your first rodeo. If you didn't do it yesterday, you got this and we're rooting for you guys. So go live and share that, okay? Owning My Future 2. If that makes sense, put both arms up in the air and give me that double fist bump so I can just see you guys. If you're in YouTube, Facebook, just put yes in that chat box. Let's move on to something really fun. We're going to wrap out the day with a lot of energy. Sit back up in your seats, put those shoulders back, lift your head up, smile for God's sakes. And we're going to give away some prizes for some epic participation. You guys have been rocking this challenge and we want to honor you. So we're giving away 3 prizes today. If you do not remember yesterday, I told you what they would be. We're going to give away one $250 Amazon gift card, one Microsoft Surface computer, and one ticket to Dean's live event. It's called World Summit. It's so good. I shared a sizzle video yesterday. I'm going to share all 3 names right now. I don't know if we have any like drum roll music situations, but if we do, or even if we do not, I'm going to have all of you just go like this. All right? And this, go like this, okay? And then I'm going to make it really dramatic and unveil the winners. The first winner with a $250 Amazon gift card is Mary Bell Gray. Give it up for Mary Bell, everybody. Throw her name in the chat box and congratulate her. All right? The second winner, going home with a Microsoft Surface computer. Give me that drum roll here. Come on, don't lose it. Come on. Is, my friends, Shell Miller. Shell Miller, congratulations. You're crushing it. And the third winner, I just need to say something here. No judgment, okay? I'm not perfect. I have no idea how to pronounce this name. We all tried to do it in the back. It's a tough one. I'm going to give it my best go, okay? Are you going to judge me or not? Cool. Let's begin. Drum roll. Third winner is going home with a ticket to the World Summit. This is a big, big deal, my friends. And this winner is Nagobi Samson Shinedu. It's my best. That's the best one I got right there, my friends. Those are our winners. Remember to win those. You must do your videos in less than 3 minutes. The only way you're eligible is when you go live and do that challenge. So those of you that go in tonight, we have great prizes for you that we're giving away throughout the rest of the challenge. So we're super, super excited. And then VIPs, we're going to take a quick break and we'll start with you in 5 minutes for your hot seat coaching session. And then everybody else, show up on time tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific time. And let's get ready to party.